East Coast of Bronx County, New York, to the West Coast of Orange County, California, from the Pacific perspective to the Atlantic perspective, from liberal craziness to conservative idealism, from Christianity to atheism belief systems. Welcome to the TheGrayZone Roundtable with your hosts, Rectify and Loki at Revolution Radio. FreedomSlips.com.
What's up, Revolution Radio family? This is Rectify.
And this is yours truly riding shotgun, Joaquin.
Happy 2014. This would be our first show of the 2014 season.
Happy New Year to all you guys out there.
I can't believe it's already 2014, man.
Can't believe I'm 37 years old, dude. I remember when I was 17.
Right. Those it's like the 90s.
It's like, wow, what happened? You know, it's like you blink and then all of a sudden 20 years just fly by. It's amazing.
I don't know. You think time's speeding up and compressing like the scripture says, or do you think it's just us getting old?
Dude, I don't know, man, because the whole concept of time is just like time doesn't exist, you know, but at the same time, to me, I think it is speeding up pretty much, yeah.
I've
because
had
of
kids
the fact that,
kids have even, mentioned the anomalies. So why would kids even be experiencing it if it wasn't in time itself?
I agree, because when I was a kid, to me, time seemed like it just stood still. Nowadays, it's just flying by for kids. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, before we get started, this is a roundtable. This is the TheGrayZone Roundtable. We get involved in whatever's on your mind. And I want to give out our numbers, 347-688-2902. That's 347-688-2902. Or you can Skype us at Freedom Screen. That's FREEDOMC, Freedom Screen, yeah. It's like a screen door with the word freedom in front of it. Freedom Screen. That's our Skype username. So yeah, you just send us a request, we'll add you in. But we're getting started already with a couple buddies of mine and Joaquim's. We have Wingman that has joined us. What's up, Wingman?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up, man?
And I got an old friend from an old broadcast that we used to do back in 2004, 2005-ish. And that would be EOD. What's up, my brother?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Welcome, man.
It's been a long time. You know, we were all about the Ustream thing back when that first started.
Yeah, we used to show our
long
upper buds.
time ago. We were trying to break the boundaries of that well before we even understood that we started getting monitored and stuff. But, we'll go into that later, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, buddy. I'm glad to have you with us.
Yeah, hey.
So, tonight, I've got a whole list of things. First, the thing I wanted to get into is how crazy the weather is. I mean, we have negative 40, plus with wind chill and up in like Minnesota and South Dakota. But yet, I looked at Alaska, and they're plus 40 Fahrenheit. How does that make any sense, people? Really?
It really doesn't. It's like what happened a couple of weeks back, Rectify, when it was like 60 degrees over here in the East Coast and it was about 40 degrees over there in the West Coast. It should have been the complete opposite. So,
Right.
It's gone up to 34 here in Washington State. 34 right now. Everywhere else is like way below freezing.
Right.
Well
Southern
below.
California
Well below.
was colder than New York only a few weeks ago, just like Joaquin, right? It was saying. So it was the exact opposite. So we have this time compression, and we have these temperature fluctuations that don't make any sense. Can anybody say this is a bunch of pole shift?
Well, we would have had an
You guys know
effect.
about HARP, though? Do you guys know about HARP?
Right. It's been shut down supposedly, but I know they have more centers than just Alaska.
That's complete crap. HARP has not been shut down, dude. They would love you to believe that, though.
You guys realize that HARP technology can also be utilized by radar stations? Yeah.
Right.
You're talking about like a station like in Montauk.
No, well, just a regular radar station or a big radar.
Gwen
the HARP array, the similar effect can be achieved with radar emission.
Yeah, like I heard they're even putting like Gwen type technology on our cell towers even.
And so I was just gonna say that cell towers also could also be utilized when meant to either mind control or control weather. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, the HARP headquarters or all 8 of them. If I'm not mistaken, there's 8 of them throughout the planet. So
I remember investigating a radar burst that preceded a tornado thing going on, a storm cell, and just before this big burst, this kind of radar burst was caught on one of the weather mapping sites. There was one pixel that lit up, and I was like, that's interesting. And it was near the center of this kind of burst, and so I opened Google Maps and I tried to work out what area it was in. I kept zooming in on that area on Google Earth, and lo and behold, what I found was a radar station. Big radar station in the middle of this kind of near a lake in the middle of nowhere, and that was the little pixel that lit up just beforehand.
Sort of like those little radar stations that are all over Russia. Kind of the same.
Well, this one just had a big dome thing on it, but it was obviously a radar. It's a bit of a huge dome kind of thing, I think they've got one they've got a portable one, if I know, on a big rig out at sea somewhere as well.
Yeah, Wild Bob in the chat room says NEXRAD. It's NEXRAD at every airport. So I'm assuming that's also part of the radar installations that could be used for weather manipulation or even mind control.
My take on that also is the more they continue to spray us with chemtrails and aluminums and whatnot, the less array of radars they need. They can use something a lot smaller. Before they were using like HARP stations, which there was like an array of thousands of hundreds of not thousands of satellite radars. They were pointing up to the sky. Now they can actually use less. If we're heavily induced with ions and metals in us, they don't need that much. They don't need to use that much energy to control us anymore.
They made us an antenna, basically.
Exactly, pretty much.
So that explains another reason I need to add to my list of 7 different reasons of what chemtrails are existing for.
Yeah, chemtrails. Oh man.
Go at it, EOD. Let's hear it.
Ahead, brother.
I've been watching. Because I work outside, man. I'm just like a guy that works outside.
Breathe deep.
And I just have been noticing exactly how they've been spreading. It spreads certain days. It has to do with the upper atmosphere and how good it will sit at night. It'll never work at night. Has to have the sun on it. Won't even work. So but you will never see a chemtrail at night. You will never see that. It's always during the day. And
I do see them at night, though, here.
Dude, I do too.
Never seen I do too. Here.
I do
really?
too.
Okay, well that's awesome. Why? Well, see, I never knew that they worked at night.
How far as a crow flies would you say you are from the sea? Because I'm about only 10 miles. So maybe that's the difference.
Well, yeah, from the actual sea, yeah, I'm. I live near Seattle, so we got
Was that 50, 100 miles?
The Puget Sound or whatever, and then and then there's a whole thing of mountains actually from me and the sea, really,
Right, so that would explain why you might not see them at night, because for us, they're doing it at night, so it moves inland for all you guys by the daytime.
Oh, right, and that's why it's so hazy every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it's not hazy. And then that's where they come in and they fill it up. They're like, oh, it's too clear for you. And then all of a sudden there'll be this huge, really nice, I've taken pictures. I've actually taken pictures of some of these.
Yeah, you are an artist also.
Nice,
welcome to the
really
club.
Nice, just nice, big nice ones that spread over the whole thing.
You sell them at the swap meet. Call it miracle clouds. I'll bet you get people.
You're right. Yeah, miracle clouds, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even. Man, it's just it messes my head up when I go out there. Because I used to well, and I still do. I work outside, right?
What do you do for a living?
I'm a landscaper or whatever.
All
You know
right.
what I mean? I mow lawns. I help people situate their gardens and stuff. I know some.
You see plants
plant
freaking out lately or anything like that?
Yeah, oh yeah. All the soils have been they're all a little bit, their pH levels have changed.
Too much aluminum from the chemtrails.
Well, right, yeah. And borium, there's also, don't forget
Right.
borium.
Barium.
People tend to
Barium,
forget that there's borium in that. Yeah, borium.
Barium.
What the hell does borium do? What the hell does
It absorbs radiation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting too. So are we getting?
Why are they
plastic
using that?
galactic?
Why are they spraying that with us?
Maybe we're going through that galactic fluff cloud, and all the energies need to be absorbed so they don't kill us.
Well, guys, I'm in no doubt with all these various.
Hold on, Yodi. Go ahead, women.
Yeah, I was going to say with all these various attacks against humanity, I'm in no doubt that, this is a war. We're at war with the very people that are meant to be our guardians, whether it be,
Absolutely.
the legal system failing to protect our rights, whether it be law enforcement, the administration, the corporations. This is a war. We're at war with these
The
people.
judicial system,
Yeah. And the sooner we realise that, the better. And I think the last 5 to 10 years has been educational, in terms of the realisation of what they've been doing to us systematically. And I think 2014 is the time we're going to act. That's what I want to see. I hope to see that. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And, they've crossed too many lines now.
Hey, Wingman, let me ask you, what would be your ideal way of revolting?
It's tough. That's a tough question, Joaquin, because some people are very shy of any type of violence whatsoever. In other words, for using force. But, I don't think you can take over a corrupt system with candles and dandelions,
And prayer.
So I think
Absolutely,
I think there has to be at some point an element of force or the threat of the use of force as a bare minimum. Because without force, you can't remove someone from wherever or whatever position they are.
How
so
secure
at some point,
is this stream? How
Secure? There's no security in this world anymore. This is the interwebs.
Well, obviously, I know, but
NSA,
so
we
we're
love
just,
you.
Just open talking about this.
No, I'm not for violence at all. I'm actually against the violent revolution. That's why I do my time here as a volunteer
Me too.
at freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio.
yeah, I mean, obviously violence should be avoided, but you see, by the threat of force,
We did stop the Vietnam
I'm
War.
not trying to advocate violence. I'm just saying at some point you will need to get physical. You will need to
Yeah, at
physically
some
remove
point, you're right.
people
Yes.
from office or corporations or CEOs or whatever. You will physically, and what happens to them afterwards in terms of repercussions is down to us, really, at the end of the day.
We put
And if
them
we
in
can
a
all-
just court system, and we try them as what we would want to be tried as, which they have been denying us the whole time in their corrupt state.
Right. I mean, whatever form of persecution we choose, the fact that we do use democracy as it should be used to decide what we should do with these folk. I would like to see us use similar tactics to the police, which is using the smaller fish to catch the bigger fish, and the repercussions or the persecution being reflective of how big a fish you are and the damage you've done to humanity. Because let's not face it, a lot of these guys are murderous, genocidal maniacs that have caused much suffering and death upon humanity.
Absolutely.
So there should be
Absolutely.
repercussions. There should be repercussions for that.
Well, they got hell forever, but coming. But yeah, you're right. They need to be tried like everybody
Health
else.
forever, health.
Yeah,
Well,
let's not deny ourselves, but there is a healing process in itself to bring in certain the individuals to justice. Just like if you were violated or someone burgled you or you were raped or something like that, there is a kind of peace of sorts when those people are brought to justice, or those criminals are brought to justice.
This is normal things that go on in American, like people using their computers. Like normal people using their computers are now violated just by using your computer, right? You know what I mean? Like,
there's no such thing as privacy anymore.
There is no such thing as privacy anymore, as far as the NSA is considered.
So what do you think about Snowden, Edward Snowden? Do you think he's a shill, just like coming out with information that most people already know?
I'm not
think he's
sure,
true to heart?
actually. You know what is weird about that? Like, yeah, I know, like, it makes sense to push out information that also makes sense, and like as anti-information, whatever, it's fine.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that the information is okay. I think it's okay. That information you're talking about.
What do you think about Alex Jones?
He's a shill.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a shill.
Of course he is.
Definitely a shill. Yeah. He makes money off of making you afraid of things. Yes, but
potassium iodide. But make sure
like I had said before, about Alex Jones, you don't make $6 million without government help. You know, the dude is worth six point something $million. And in all sincerity, his job, the way he's being utilized by the government, is to round up everybody who's going to be a problem. He's the leader. He's going out there, let's revolt, let's do this, we gotta do this. Because honestly, you never heard about people killing TSA agents until he started talking about TSA agents. Now you got this guy CNC going up into LAX and shooting people up. But and when you really look at it, his job is to get all the people that are gonna be a problem and gather them all up in one spot. So when crap does hit the fan, they already know who to target. The government already know who's to separate the wheat from the tare. They know who to sift out. They're like, all right, Billy got a gun, go get him. Because he's rounding all these people up in these squares to let's go open gun carry. Everybody, meanwhile, they're being filmed on the second floor by every cop in town. You see, so
you guys are doing the same thing. You're rounding all of us up, too. Really,
Well, as far as in the radio?
Oh, yeah, you're rounding all of us up.
No, but we're
I'm joking, though. I'm joking.
We're getting the information out. But this guy, he has a hand. He has a big hand in what's going to happen. So what his job is just to pretty much sift out who's going to be a problem when crap really does hit the fan. And he's doing a really good job because he has all these people riled up. Oh, let's go get him. And that's exactly what they want. They want the people who are going to be peaceful to fall back, and those who are going to revolt to go to the front line. They want to separate them. And
you guys have been joined by caller Hiero's on the line. What's going on, buddy? You just listening, or your mic muted?
Sorry, yes, I can speak as well.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? What's on your mind?
I was just listening to your conversation. So, Alex Jones are on. I won't judge the man for himself because I don't know him. Looking at his actions, I would say yes, they serve two purposes. One, it is important that information goes out to the people, some sort of information, even though it's done in the style of fear. And then two, I would say, yes, we are all sort of got together, but if we're all got together, even in a common purpose, wouldn't we rather be going down together rather than just lost amongst all the rest of the zombies?
Hey, Hyro, that's you, right, JB? That's JB?
Yeah.
JB, what's going on, man?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Okay. I'm good.
He's freezing his huevos off where he's at, actually.
I thought that the information Alex Jones puts out is correct. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but that's the whole point. The whole point is they're allowing him to say that. There's nothing wrong with this information. I mean, he's very knowledgeable, and what he's saying is right. But it's pretty much like, okay, what you going to do about it? okay, this is the truth. Now, what are you gonna do about it? And there's pretty much nothing we can do about it unless we, like what man said, unless we raise up and actually revolt.
First thing
And
is
this
stop
what they
shopping
want. This is
Walmart
exactly
and
what they want.
corporations. You got to cut the corporations out of your life. I know it's hard to. It's like really tough because of what you
Totally
can
have to,
afford.
yes.
But you have to cut it off. It's got to be non-compliance. I mean, that's the only non-violent way to disconnect. You got to cut one tentacle at a time off.
That's easier said than done, brother. You told them about getting rid of the Fed. That's not like shutting down the corner bodega in your neighborhood. You know
Go
what I'm saying?
shop at
Please
mom and
don't
pop shop.
shop at Walmart. You
Right.
could at
Oh,
least
all right.
stop
Don't
shopping
use credit
at Walmart
cards. Don't pay off your credit cards. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about it, but who's going to do that?
myself.
I don't know.
Who's really going to do that?
It's a lot more. It's a lot more sane than grabbing a gun and trying to revolt violently.
Yeah, exactly.
Just,
I'm
I
on
don't
your side
have
of non-compliance.
So,
I'm on your side of non-compliance, but I'd like Wingman to say his part first because, he's the only one holding up the side for under Joaquim for that violence.
Cheers, mate. I just want to say something with regards to Alex and the corporate side of things, and that is, he does complain. I do like the information he brings to the table, but he complains about corporate control and corruption, and yet out of every 5 minutes of airtime with him, every 2 minutes is adverts of him ramming stuff down your throat. Go and buy some iodine.
Absolutely.
And yet we've heard Nighthawk come on there earlier and say, you got to be careful with iodine because you can overdose on it, and actually cause damage. And Alex doesn't mention any of this. It's just like constant adverts. And so he's being a bit hypocritical in that part, Not, is it hypocritical? Is that the word? Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's being a hypocrite.
He's being a hypocrite.
Just buy my bike. Buy
Yeah.
my stuff. Right.
So he's doing exactly the
wants
same
you to buy
thing.
his-
He's manipulating us with his own products.
All this corporate stuff and yet
You
buy
know
mine.
what I mean?
Yo, Wingman,
Exactly.
you don't make $6 million, dude, without having help by somebody. The dude is worth $6 million, man.
Where'd you get that
He's a
number?
millionaire. He's rich. He's rich for talking the crap that he does, man. You really got to think about that.
Joaquin, where did you get the 6 million figure?
Yeah,
He because I looked it up on the internet. His net worth, it was 5 point something at the time. I'm pretty sure that right now it's 6 million.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that a long time ago.
buy my thing. Do my
Right, he's
thing.
starting to say we're
Do
listener
your
supported
thing.
now.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? He listens to us, or one of his boys does.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of things that go on here at Revolution Radio the next day on Alex Jones's show because I listen to him for comedial remedy.
I do too.
Yeah, he makes me laugh.
I
Actually,
listen
he
to that
does.
guy. Yeah, I listen to him. I've been listening to him ever since. Like 9/11, I've been listening to that guy.
You got to admit though, he did open our eyes, though, which
Oh,
was all planned.
yeah.
It had to.
He
have
didn't
been
open my eyes. Bill Cooper opened my eyes, not
Right,
him.
Cooper, right?
Credo mutua for me.
You know who did it to me? Buddha opened my eyes. No, I swear to God, Buddha.
Nice one.
If you want to learn about Buddha, what's the literature to read?
Well, the internet.
What would I search for? Buddhism?
Well, yeah. Or
It's a better
Zen.
book of death.
Look up Zen, I guess.
I like documentaries.
You really wanted to. For me, I took mushrooms, and that's how I figured it.
Good
out,
old
right?
shroomers.
So,
Right on.
There you go.
What would you say is the most enlightenment which most people experience with hallucinogenics? What would you say is the most enlightened aspect of doing an hallucinogen like mushrooms?
Well, find out yourself, really, and find yourself out. Look into yourself. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
And we've been joined by Pony from Down Under. What's going on, my brother?
So, I'd like to do a quick impression of Alex Jones.
Do it.
Please, go ahead, Pony.
Chinese. He's a Zionist shill. He never talks about Israel's involvement in 9/11, let alone 9/11 at all. And you guys just got the first Jewish female.
Oh, and let's not break
Federal
the
Reserve.
Jews. No Jews
Janet
up in this.
Yellen.
I can't
Well-
blame one group into a basket other than evil, man. I can't do it. I've gone through that route before, and I've gotten
I never
past
said
it.
a group. I said a Jew is now the federal.
Well, I could see
Reserve.
Israel as a state, but you said Jews right after that, so.
No, I said Zionist, and then I said the first Jewish female head of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen. So you jumped the gun on me.
Hey, they're good with money. What can you say?
Yeah, your money.
Well,
You
actually,
don't own it.
My money.
just to come in there, Janet Yellen is actually due to be replaced by a 70-year-old, get that, 70-year-old, so probably old school, by the name of Fisher, I think it is.
Already?
Fisher. Yeah.
She just got a job.
He was a former Bank of Israel Governor Stanley Fisher is President Barack Obama's leading candidate to become vice chairman of the Federal Reserve. Now, I have issues with that. Now, I have issues with actually any Jew being in the position of power or responsibility over non-Jews. And that is because if you read the Talmud, they say some pretty horrific things about Gentiles. Things like it's okay to spill the blood of a Gentile. This is actually a worship to God. It's okay to use them as slaves. It's okay to call them, animalistic and they call them all sorts of names, pigs, monkeys, and very, very nasty things about non-Gentiles. So in my opinion, and I'm not racist or anything, don't get me wrong, but in my opinion, anyone with that kind of belief system should not be in a position of power over non-Jews. I mean, this is a no-brainer. And yet here you have the president of the so-called free world
What's the difference?
putting a Jew in a position of responsibility over the country's money supply.
What if it was an Arab or a Muslim? I mean, what's the difference?
No, hold on.
Someone would
There
bitch
are
about that
far worse things going on right now. Way more worse than what you're in.
Expound on that. Expound on that. Like what? Like alien wars going on up in space or something?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, even within the whole Masonic community, right? Which is a thing that's going on, right?
What they call the Illuminati these days.
And others, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying even just what's happening within the Masonic realms. I'm not saying Illuminati. I'm not saying that. That's
you just think it's
what I'm
Freemasons now, so we're going to throw all them in one basket.
Well, no, I'm using that as a. Don't wait. Hold on a second. Don't
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Throw things into my speech. Don't say things for me.
Sorry, Yodi. Go ahead, bro. You got the floor.
What the fuck?
Whoa, we can't be doing that on the air. Go ahead, bro. You get one strike, one more, and you're done. But go ahead. Sorry about interrupting you.
Get it. Yeah. Well, anyways,
there's bigger things going on in the Masons. Go ahead.
That's what I was saying, basically.
Well, I don't want to kind of, but the money is the bloodline of what, the economy and people's livelihoods at the moment.
Well,
so the Federal Reserve and what happens there and who's responsible for it is pretty darn important and will have an impact. And this is why I mentioned it, but there's other angles, there's other important things that are going. It's a can of worms, mate. There's a can of worms.
However, wingman. However, money is on the ground level as we're seeing it. You can see that all the money is being sucked up into the bankers and the corporate place. The government is controlled by them, and we are the slaves. It's clear for everyone to see that, isn't it?
They're creaming us. I'll give you one example.
Beautifully creaming us. Yes.
I'll give you one example.
We can't fight. Go on.
I was going to say, I'll give you one example where they're creaming us. And this is an experience I had yesterday. I'm a bit skint at the moment, and I wanted to upgrade my TV to a 55-inch. I like my films and stuff. So I put my 3D Wi-Fi enabled 47-inch TV up on eBay. Sold it for something like $700 or something like that. And then I goes to check my account to see what the fees were. They wanted, so I sold it for 600 quid, They wanted £60 in fees, and that didn't even include the PayPal fee, which would have brought it up to £80, which is over 10%. Now, bear in mind, guys, which is robbery, because they don't do anything for it, it's just computer software, right? But bear in mind that a lot of poor people that need, a little bit of extra cash are using eBay to sell their goods, their gold, their bits and bobs, whatever. So they are creaming a big chunk of money off the bottom, the poor. And again, that is filtering up and up and up to all these rich folk. And it's just a money machine, massive money machine. PayPal and eBay, which are owned by the same people now. And I tell you what, if you try and call up eBay, if you try and find a number for eBay or PayPal, you'll be searching for half an hour, mate. And if you get through, you'll be lucky to get through.
I had the same problem with Amazon today. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Amazon's another one. Yeah, they're in the UK. They've had a turnover of hundreds of millions, and they pay nothing in tax because they go abroad in Luxembourg, where they pay minimal tax.
Hey, don't talk crap on Amazon. They're going to start delivering in a half an hour with drones to your doorstep and start killing your dog.
But I love Amazon.
What we're seeing is parasitism. This is what we're seeing, and we have to attack it. We have to remove the leeches. We have to, because otherwise they're going to suck us dry. They're going to de-spirit us, and they have been.
But it has to be by non-compliance, because if we try to attack them physically with our weapons and our whatever we've got, I think this is what will happen. It will be like, are you still there, Wingman?
Yeah.
If we try to attack them, it will be like us taking did you have ZX81 Spectrums? Mm. It'd be like trying to take your 1980s computer and going to try and attack a couple quantum computers. You're just not going to win. You can't win physically because they'll be expecting that. That's they try to get a rise out of us, like we will attack. It has to be through non-compliance. Let me just finish. It's nearly finished. It'd be one sentence. The non-compliance thing doesn't have to be 100%. You can do non-compliance by just not buying a few things at Walmart and going elsewhere. Go on.
Right. I've been advocating non-compliance as an option. And that's what it is. It's an option. But in order for it to work, the human race has to organize itself so that everyone at the same time says, for example, let's take Walmart because it's a good one, or Starbucks, or whatever corporation is violating in some shape or form that, people aren't happy with, violating our rights and freedoms, and choices and et cetera, et cetera. So let's take Walmart. But for that to work, everyone would have to stop shopping at Walmart. It'd be like you remember the fur thing where it was like taboo to wear furs? So it would have to be a similar kind of thing where it's taboo to shop at Walmart. You oust and reject people that shop at Walmart so they feel bad about it, But it would have to happen at the same time. So if we can organise ourselves to what's the word I'm looking for when you stop doing something? I can't remember. Boycott? But well, if you stop, if we could organise everyone to do that.
Boycott. Is that what you said?
Boycott. I couldn't remember the bloody word. Mm-hmm. If you could do that to boycott at the same time, that would work. But we need a platform. We need to build a platform of communication, which everyone can side with, that everyone gets, and you can from there on in you can, voice your boycotting plans. But
I absolutely agree with you.
But you'd have to protect that platform as well from being hijacked, from being shut down, because there will be attempts to do that as well.
You started that with communicate. That's the problem. Because we're speaking on reason and we're sort of on the same page, even though we have little little disagreements about how it should be done. But we're on the same page. Whereas you've got most people are the masses and they're still listening. They don't work on logic, not at all. They work on authority. They're always if you speak to somebody, the first thing they're thinking about is always pecking order. They're constantly thinking about whether they're better than you or that you're better than them in the eyes of how the mainstream media is. And I watched some of the television over Christmas to see what it's like, and I like the films just as you do. However, I would never have bought a 55-inch television. I would have moved the sofa closer to the television. And secondly, what happens is when you try, you wouldn't be able to explain to them. To explain to them, it would have to come through the mouth of some idol of theirs, say Alex Jones. Well, not even that. Say whatever through the media, through some sort of authority figure, and they just follow as little robots. and they wouldn't really know what they were doing. That's the only way you could make them do it. You can't do it with reason. That's the problem. So your idea, what you're saying there, we'd need 99% those people. We need those people to just stand together in non-compliance for it to work.
Exactly. I mean, for example, if everyone were to boycott things like taxes or paying their taxes or paying parking fines
or paying their credit card bills.
Or paying their credit card bills, exactly. Then those establishments would fall by the wayside. They wouldn't be able to operate. But the thing is, with that move, you also need to enable protection. And so you need to protect people where there are attempts to come at them from the establishment. So, for example, if you don't pay your parking fine, then you need to protect people from being arrested for not paying their parking fine, for example. You need to protect people from being hounded by the police, so that if they're, and this is why I advocate a good idea that I first heard from a guy called Schaefer Cox in Fairbanks, Arizona. This system of a kind of SMSing. If you find yourself in a position where your rights are being threatened, then you call a number, text a number, and anyone in your neighborhood or vicinity comes to that place and protects you and protects your rights. So we band together, unions. In other words.
You're talking about organizing unions, in other words.
Well, organising communal response systems whereby, people come to your aid. They protect each other.
That's not a bad idea, actually, Wingman, that you got going on there.
So if someone comes around at your house because you haven't paid your mortgage bills because you can't afford it, because you've been put in a position whereby your employee rights have been violated and you've been laid off, whereas if you've been a perfectly good walker and they want to take your house, a bailiff comes around to take your house, then you call the number, the people stop them taking the house. And that goes for anything. That goes for all the tiers. If the police then come along,
it's like 1-800 Blackwater or something, like 1-800 Neighborhood Blackwater.
Excellent, yeah, something along those lines.
1-800 boycott will actually work.
Because let's face it, the main threats are bailiffs, debt collectors, and the police are the final branch of that. And they are effectively the henchmen of the corporations and the administration, the police. Let's not, there's no qualms about that. So you need to protect us. We need to protect ourselves from the police as well.
See, sovereignty now is terrorism. So they've made it to where when you declare your freedom and your rights, and if you were to gather in such a faction, you're a terror cell now. You're not a sovereign free man trying to help everybody else. You're a friggin' terrorist. That's what's going on here in the States.
We're obviously all terrorists. Otherwise, why would they be monitoring our every move? So we're obviously potential terrorists in their eyes, and basically a potential terrorist in their eyes is anyone likely to create any movement or uprising against themselves. So they're just protecting their own interests and power structure.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Well said, absolutely.
They don't even know it, though. They don't even know their tools, all these people. The ones that protect the power structure don't even know their own rights. They run around with their ego on their badge, we call a shiny medallion, whatever, with their gun, and they're basically just collecting revenue. They have no idea what our rights are.
Exactly, and the revenue collection part, they get it from the taxes. So if we refuse to pay our taxes, demand our wages direct from the employee, otherwise we walk. If everyone did that, imagine what we could do.
We'll just get a bailout, man. We've seen this before.
There's not even a law that says that we should be paying taxes. There's nowhere where it says that we have to be paying taxes, then we just do it anyway.
16th Amendment was never ratified by enough states.
People pay taxes and don't even know why. There's no reason why anybody should be paying taxes.
Well, it's to pay for the illegal wars, of course, killing of innocents.
No, we know what they do with the money, but, there's no law stating that we have to pay taxes, but yet we still do it. And these are things that people are not knowledgeable about. They're going out there paying taxes thinking like they have to or something.
Well, you're speaking income taxes. There are ratified, or there are taxes that are legal and lawful.
I'm talking about income tax.
Obviously, you could choose not to go buy gas, therefore not get taxed for it.
And this banding together can be done with the legal system as well. If there is a violation of sorts, harm, damage, or loss in the community, Don't take it to the courts. Don't involve the police. Form your own community court. This is common law. You can do it from the ground up. And that way you also boycott the legal system, which at the end of the day has failed us. Let's not have it, again, it's failed us. The legal system has failed us, as it is.
The legal system is written by the same people you just described earlier. They write laws. Legislation, sorry. I will not call those things law. Legislation, legal. Stick with that.
And they also try to confuse us with the 3,000-page bills that they introduce, So that there is so much ambiguity, no one knows where they stand a lot of the time.
It's almost multidimensional, eh, Joachim?
Yep. Absolutely. And then they actually write these laws, they make them and they break them in a place called Capitol Hill, which is not even part of the United States. It's a city-state.
But, people like Tammy, for example, are starting to suss it out. We're starting to realise that a lot of this stands on certain fundamental admiralty laws, et cetera, that we can, if we wanted to take, and again, that's another branch. If we wanted to take that route we can actually use the law to protect ourselves. But the thing is, you have to understand it so thoroughly and so well that it takes quite an effort to do that,
There's another guy.
It takes people getting up and turning off their TV and actually reading a book, and that's where the problem lies.
Yeah.
There's an idea. Have you not seen all these films? Because we all watch films, yeah. And in these films, whether they're soft disclosure or whatever they are, whenever there's a revolution, they always use the television. They use that in order to let the people know. So in some sort of broadcast that tells everybody this is what's happening, or some sort of
it's like we let you know, but you weren't paying attention. Nobody's paying attention. The truth is either in front of them on TV or everywhere around them, and just nobody seems to be paying attention. That's what scares me.
I'd love to see...
It's TV anymore, is it? Sorry.
I was going to say, I'd love to see Anonymous, that establishment known as Anonymous. I'd love to see them hack the TV system so that we could get all channels on one channel and be a broadcast that would be so powerful and so motivating that it would get every person out in the street ready to change the world around them.
Guy Fawkes coming on and doing that speech type of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because TV, people are... let's be honest, people are lazy nowadays. A lot of people, people want bite-sized information. They don't want to read a book. They want a 1 minute YouTube clip or something like that, So people are getting mentally lazy now, and they want to be hit with the information in short, concise...
instant gratification.
More or less. And that's changed. That's culture.
Well, I was going to say one thing. Maybe it's not the television now. Maybe it's the smartphones. That's what everyone's looking at.
Yeah. Smartphones as well.
Have you noticed all the arched spines and necks in the last few years because of all of the technology of the kids? They can't even stand up straight anymore.
But the thing is this: the generations that was born in the 80s. They outnumber all the baby boomers that were born in the 60s. So there's more of us, all of the young people, than there are of them. And they fear that. They fear that we're going to get up and rise up and actually, overtake them. And they don't want that. This is the reason why the police force is the reason why they're dumbing us down and they're feeding us crap on TV, because they know this. They know this.
That's why I'm going to get into this at the top of the next hour.
Now youth than they ever had. We outnumber them, man. We outnumber them.
It's all about the dumbing down. It's all about introducing apathy every way they can, from the air, the food, the water, and pharmaceuticals.
And, let's not forget, there are only a few whip crackers, that's quite hard to say, whip crackers, There are only a few people cracking the whip. That's easier to say. and so if we can protect ourselves from the persecution side of things, when we non-comply and boycott wherever we want to boycott through the organisational streams that exist out there, then that would be a good avenue to go. And that way you would minimise any violence. You could effectively build up from the ground up the systems that you want to live by and create the template that we want to live by. And everything else that has had control will obviously fall by the wayside when you non-comply with them.
Fun fact of the day, the word crackers, the derogatory term for a white boy or what have you, yeah, that came from the whip crackers, actually, the slave owners. Yeah.
Yep.
Fun fact of the day. Go on.
So it is doable, and I'd like to see it happen in 2014. 2014 is the years, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make it happen.
Amen.
I'd like to make it happen tomorrow, but that's just not reality, man. It's not realistic.
I make it happen every breath I take. If you don't allow something into your life, it's not part of your life. That's the first step. If you let it scare you, it's going to suck you in still. I don't care what you're doing.
Fear plays a major role in just about everything that goes on today, man. I mean, TV and all that, they have a funny way of just striking fear into everybody. And it's just complete crap. If you think about all the stuff that they try to put out there and try to make people afraid of, it's not even that serious. You know, it's like, in the news, don't go up an escalator because the escalator is going to eat you alive, in the news.
Right.
You're like, oh my God, everybody's afraid to go up an escalator now. You know?
I think it's a really good point. Sorry, can I just say something quickly?
Okay.
It's a really good point. Someone I listened to called Mark Passio, he said that the opposite of fear is love. The opposite of love is fear, which is, we're taught that the opposite of love is hate. That's not true. It is fear. And it's interesting that they say that real God, say source, that's the word people usually band around, is about love. And they say that the opposite of that is fear. And is fear above money, that fear above money that does rule us all? It's not about the money, really. It's the fear of not having the money. It's all fear.
See, I've got two different points on that. I always thought the same thing, the opposite of love is hate, but I was taught that the opposite of love is actually indifference, because you're not putting any energy in at all when you're indifferent. It's not caring at all. You're just meh, so it's the opposite of both love and hate is indifference. But yeah, I mean, I could...
Yes, that's right, because love and fear are the opposite polarities. There's something called polarity. Have you ever read Kybalion?
Mm-hmm. But see, here's my conundrum
so
with
love
the whole thing.
And so like the middle of that would be indifference.
But the opposite of fear is faith. So how do we explain that?
Well, I'd say confidence, isn't it? Opposite of fear is confidence, no?
I say it's faith. I don't know. That's I'm asking
the opposite of fear is no fear.
It's no fear. I don't know about faith,
right?
You have to read Kybalion.
Faith is like the absence of knowledge, isn't it? Really, the absence of knowing is what faith is.
It's funny, Wingman, because Hebrews 11, verse 1, chapter 11, verse 1 explains faith to the T. It says, "Faith is the substance for things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." That right there is a perfect example of what faith is. It's basically telling you that there's no evidence for the crap you believe. Just hope that it's true. That's faith.
My definition would be faith is a temporal mindset in the absence of knowingness.
I don't know. Okay. We can get into projection too, and that's where I kind of collide with faith too. So, because you can project and change things that are ahead of you in time,
Let me make a really simple example here, a really simple example. I'm going to break it down into colour. Now, you've got the colours black, white, and grey. Give me a colour, all of you, for love.
The grey zone, baby.
I would say baby blue, sky blue.
No. You only have three colours. Black, white, and grey. So which one would you attribute to love?
I would refrain from answering the question and say love is much more than three colours.
Yeah, that's not even fair.
As long as you're not saying it's a rainbow, I agree.
That's not even fair.
Which one would you attribute?
We're programmed to believe that white.
I'll buy into this. White.
I'm saying he's tried to trap us. He's tried to ensnare us, man. Stay away.
You see, because you're not open, you can't understand. And say the middle one there, say indifference, that would only be grey.
Right. We're going to a break, everybody. You're listening to The Gray Zone here at Revolution Radio. Find us at freedomslips.com. We have a great chat room going on, and we'll be right back in about 3 minutes.
Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Who owns you? If you're not in control, then someone else is. Join me, Ivy West, for Voices on the Wind, Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern in Studio A. I discuss government, health, metaphysics, suppressed science, universal mysteries, little-known incredible facts, alternative energies, and even more than you can imagine. Won't you join us on Revolution Radio Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern for Voices on the Wind with me, Ivy West.
There are lives in the balance, people under fire, children at the cannons.
Because if your head's in the sand, your tail is a target.
Hi everybody, it's me, the Fetch, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there is Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, the Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Welcome to the TheGrayZone Roundtable, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. No corporate ties, corporate duct tape dictating our freedom of speech. It shall remain that way as long as we are supported by you. Join us, 347-688-2902. Enter the Gray Zone.
And we're back. We are joined with my co-host Joaquin, JB,
Yes.
Wingman, and Pony. What's up, Revolution Radio? You are in the Gray Zone.
Just wanted to remind everybody out there that you are listening to Revolution Radio here at freedomslips.com. That's revolution-radio.com. Or you can find us at freedomslips.com. Yes, freedom does have a voice and does have lips, and we are that voice and we are those lips. It's you, the listener, that makes shows like The Gray Zone possible, and your donations are very much needed. So donate what you can. Go to our website and hit the site support button. Donate $1, $2, $3, $10, $20, whatever it is you can. It's very much needed to us, and we're very grateful for you listening and donating what you can. Also, Nighthawk has a great deal with a $100 donation to over 34,000 non-GMO seeds with over 50 different variety of seeds that you can plant your own garden, grow your own food, non-GMO. Also, we have a great chat room with great people in it, very knowledgeable, very intelligent people. You can go there. We have avatars for everybody that will a $5 donation you can also get. Also, we would like to mention that we're only not that far away from getting iHeart to be possible to listen to us on iHeartRadio, and we need about 80 likes, just about 80 likes. So if you can, go to Spreaker and look up Revolution Radio and hit the like for Revolution Radio, man, and just make that happen. So that way we could branch out.
Absolutely. So we're talking about all kinds of craziness, everything from government corruption to shrooms at one point. Oh, EOD did leave us, by the way, at the break. So thank you for joining us, EOD, if you're still listening. Anytime, brother. Give out our number here, 347-688-2902. Again, 347-688-2902. I believe it was JB that had the mic before the break, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I left you to play around with
You got a bad connection there, bud.
You're cracking up, dude.
Yeah, you got a bad cable. Shake your cables up a little bit. You're buzzing.
Do you have crumpets, I think you would say?
No, it's still buzzing.
Still buzzing.
I have to call back.
All right, look, just go ahead and call back.
So, yes, I'm having my tea and crumpets. Do you have crumpets over there in the USA?
No, they call them cookies, I think, here.
Really? Yeah, tea and crumpets. I'm having them as we speak. One with raspberry jam.
What is a crumpet? Can you please elaborate?
You have to look it up on Google, because if I don't think you get them over there.
You got to get a visual. What's it made of? A lot of sugar, I'm going to assume.
No, it's just like a savory kind of. It's
like a pancake.
Like a pancake, but thick.
Cold pancake that you
With
toast.
holes in.
So it was like a waffle. It was like a I don't know.
It's
Pancake.
unique.
Soft.
It's not like any of those things. But
When I hear crumpet, I think
Jack
of an
cake.
instrument. You know, when I hear a word like crumpet, I'm thinking like an instrument that you play.
Do you guys call fit girls over there crumpet?
Fit girls crumpets?
Yeah, we call it. If you see a fit girl over here, you say, "Oh, that's a nice piece of crumpet."
We just call them hot.
or hard to find these days. Something like that. We've been joined by caller 808. How you doing and what's your name?
Hey, what up, guys? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
808.
New Year, brother.
What's
Yeah,
your
this is
name, sir?
808. 308. Yeah, I just want to complete the thought exercise about the gray and the black and the white.
Right.
Okay.
Well done, caller. You're a brave man. And it's not a trap. It's not a trap.
Yeah, it's a thought exercise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I say the gray zone is the love zone.
There you go.
It's like
That's right,
dude.
brother. Preach that.
You heard
And
it first.
let me tell you why.
Good.
Because gray has the properties of both black and white.
Mm.
And love is empathy.
That's right.
That's right.
Best caller, like, from all of our shows so far. I love you, man.
Oh, good. Thanks. Love you too in a brotherly way.
So what else is on your mind? Anything poking at you?
No, that's just it. I just wanted to congratulate you guys. You know, you got a great show. Wanted to call in when you first came on, but I was having some phone service issues. But
well, thank you.
Happy to do it now. Yeah.
We appreciate
what a concept.
So much, man. Thank you.
Before you go, I would like to say that you didn't just say what, you also said why, and you backed it up. And this I have respect for, whether I agree with it or not.
Thank you. Yeah. Wait a minute. I think I know you. You're JB.
That's right.
Correct?
JB in the house.
Okay, you're right. Right on. Represent, JB. Represent, man. We had a similar discussion last night on the on Seth Michael's show about the Robert Peppino's duality in black and white, and you know.
Oh yes, I was there for that one.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Mm-hmm.
I think,
and I'm like you guys. I think the universe is filled with just fantastic colors, endless, unlimited colors and options and worlds and experiences. And you can't just break it down to black and white a lot of times.
I totally agree with you. And I have crossed swords with Robert on that one before. So, yeah.
Yeah. I simply didn't want them to argue. I thought I'd make it simpler with black, white, and grey. If we got into the colours, it'd go on forever. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So where are you located? Where's 808 at?
808's in Hawaii.
Oh, so you're comfy over there. You're not suffering.
Yeah. Not too much. It's a blistering, 72 degrees.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks a lot. It's like 13 below zero here in New York City.
I'm sympathetic, man. My God, you got to come out to Hawaii. That'll solve that issue.
Hey, throw me a plane ticket. I'm there.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
So, 808, do you get many UFO sightings out there? Because we had one today at Heathrow. A pilot, quite distraught pilot in an Airbus 320 reported he thought he was about to collide with a UFO that was literally a few feet away from the aircraft, and he reported this.
Was that near Hawaii or where?
No, that was Heathrow. So that was Heathrow.
Heathrow in London. Oh, okay, in London. Wow.
Yeah. Like I say, a close encounter by a pilot. He thought he was going to hit it. Thought they were going to collide. And that was yesterday, actually. Yeah. So I just wondered, did you get many UFO sightings over there in Hawaii?
Nothing personally, nothing definitive. You know, it's kind of like the gray zone, if you will. Like it could have been maybe. You know, like you get the occasional lights. You know, the lone light in the sky that's brighter than the rest. But they have a missile range facility here on Kauai, so I think a lot of times that might have been an explanation, firing off a missile or two. But as a child, I had a UFO experience, which I shared on the roundtables before. I don't have time to go into detail with it now. I will on another show because I'm actually getting ready to go to work. But but not in Hawaii. I mean, in Hawaii, but at home I did. Yeah.
Oh.
You're the guy who calls in Helena Phoenix's show a lot, right?
Oh yeah, I love Helena. She's the best. I can't say a lot, but I wish I could call more. But
hey, brother, thanks for calling in, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'll be listening. I'll continue to listen too.
Hey, don't work too hard.
Getting ready. All right, take care, fellas.
All right, good day at work.
All right, aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha. I like that. That means goodbye and hello.
Does it?
Yep. It means both.
Well, how do you know if they're coming or going then?
I don't know. I guess you get laid one way.
If they're coming, you see the eyes. If they're going, you see the ass. And they say that as well. Salut, they say they say that in Belgium, the Franco-Belgians. There's also the Danish. The Flamand Belgians, the Flamand de Wallonie. So the French-speaking, they say salut, and that's the same for hello and goodbye. And don't know what the Flamands say. They wouldn't allow me to speak because they were disgusted by my accent.
Hey, you know we're not allowed to swear. Can we do it in foreign languages?
Ask the FCC or Hawk, not me.
Can I swear in French? Ah, merde. Oh dear, that's a good loophole.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, I was did you see that little video I posted earlier, Rectify? There was I watched a little video of a kid but he's about 16, 17, and he's talking about the education system. And
oh yeah, I've seen that video before.
Yeah.
Smart kid.
It's quite, smart kid. And you know what? I watched
Hey,
that.
link me up again. I'll play that speech on the air. That's actually something really cool.
It's actually really,
If you can link me up, I'll get that flowing.
All right, if you do, start it from 40 seconds.
40 seconds, gotcha.
I think the listeners will like it because when I listened to it, it warmed my heart a little bit, knowing that even the kids are starting to get it, and they're realising that the education system's failing them, that it's not just about exams, about the person you are, you know. It's not just about getting an A, and even if you do get an A in whatever grade it is, it doesn't mean you're going to get what you want. And this is kind of what he was trying to get across, and I think I was really impressed, actually. I was really impressed. You know, it gives me confidence in the youth of today. That
I don't think the youth of today is the same as the youth from yesterday. You know, nowadays, these kids are just highly intelligent, man. You look at kids that are like about 6 years old, 5 years old, you know, they're not the same as the 5, 6-year-olds 20 years ago. You know, I don't know what they're putting in their cereal, what they're putting in Similac, but these kids, not only are they growing to be like 6'5", but their brains are getting a lot bigger.
Yeah. You know, there was this guy called Dave who actually tried to open up a bank in the UK. And he realised it was a minefield of law, and he wasn't allowed to call his bank that he wanted to set up for the community a bank. So he called it Bank on Dave. And anyway, his bank is up and running now, and he's undertaken another project, which is to provide kids with some sort of entry into the workplace. Because what he found is a lot of kids don't have the qualifications and are often refused or rejected and don't have the experience, etc., etc. So he set up a kind of like a work experience organisation for kids. Now, when he first started he got a group of about 10 kids together, and he first started with them. And the first thing he did was to raise money doing a car wash, to get them into the kind of swing of working. Now, these kids weren't interested. They were effing and blind, and why are we doing this, blah, blah. They had no enthusiasm. Then he got them in, you know, various jobs. One kid was working in a hotel, one kid was working a hairdresser. And then slowly but surely, you saw, I mean, to start with, these kids had no confidence. They didn't see the point of working. They didn't see any future in the world around them. You know, they were really down and trodden. And so eventually he got them into a workplace, and you know, eventually you could see that they were starting to gain confidence in themselves. They were starting to believe in themselves. And by the end of it, these kids were so grateful and so much more confident in their abilities and how they can contribute to their, you know, society.
All right, wait a minute. I got this clip queued up. I just want to make sure I haven't seen this one. It's clean. There's no curse words?
Not if it's no, not in that one I've just sent, no.
Okay. No, you want to hear it right now?
Yeah, start it at 40 seconds.
All right, here we go.
Cool.
Right now, there is a kid finishing parents' evening in a heated discussion with his mother, saying, why does he have to study subjects he will never ever use in his life? And she will look at him blank-eyed, stifle a sigh, think for a second, and then lie. She'll say something along the lines of, you know, to get a good job, you need a good degree, and these subjects will help you get a good degree. We never had this opportunity when I was younger. And he will reply, but you were young a long time ago, weren't you, Mum? And she won't respond, although what he implies makes perfect sense, that society's needs would have changed since she was 16. But she will ignore him, grip his hand more sternly, then drag him to the car. But what she doesn't know is that she didn't ignore him just to shut him up. She didn't lie because they were just returning from parents' evening and an argument in the hallway would look bad on her resume. She won't lie because she just spent the last 1 hour convincing a stern-faced teacher that she will ensure that her child studies more at home. No, she would lie simply because she does not know any better herself. Although her whole adult life she has never used or applied Pythagoras' theorem, pathetic fallacy, and still does not know the value of X, she will rely on society to tell her that her child, who has one of the sharpest minds in the school, is hyperactive, unfocused, easily distracted, and wayward. Students, How many equations, subjects, and dates did you memorize just before an exam, never to use again? How many A grades did you get which were never asked for when you applied for a job? How many times have you remembered something 5 minutes just after the teacher said stop writing, only to receive your results 1 month later to realize that you were only 1 mark short of the top grade? Does that mean remembering 5 minutes earlier would have made you more qualified for a particular job? Well, on the application form it would have. We all have different abilities, thought processes, experiences and genes. So why is a class full of individuals tested by the same means? So does that mean Sherelle thinks she's dumb because she couldn't do a couple of sums? And if this issue is not addressed properly, it then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then every school has the audacity to have a policy on equality. The irony. Exams are society's methods of telling you what you're worth. But you can't let society tell you what you are, because it's the same society that tells you that abortion is wrong but then looks down on teenage parents. The same society that sells products to promote natural hair, looks and smooth complexion, with the model on the box half photoshopped and has fake lashes and hair extensions, with pastors that preach charity but own private jets, imams that preach against greed but are all fat, parents that say they want educated kids but constantly marvel at how rich Richard Branson is, governments that preach peace but endorse wars, that say they believe so much in the importance of higher education and further learning, then why increase tuition fees every single year? I believe Miss Jefferson when she took me into the office and said that my exams would be imperative to my success, because we was taught to always follow when Miss Jefferson led. But then I took Jefferson out of the equation and learned to think for myself. I realized we was taught to always follow when Miss led. The irony. Test us with tests, but the finals are never final, because they never prepare us for the biggest test, which is survival. And what I suggest is fairly outlandish, so I do not expect everyone to understand this, except for the kids who knows what it feels like to be worth no more than that D or that A that you get on results day, and the ones whose best stories were never good enough for the English teacher, because apparently you missed out key literal techniques, did not follow the class plan, and the language was too informal for him to understand. But then he'd reference Hamlet and Macbeth, and you'd fight the urge to express your contempt by partially clenching your fist with only your medius finger left protruding in the middle of your hand, and then asked if he was aware that Shakespeare was known as the innovator of slang, or the kid at the back of the class who thinks, why am I studying something that doesn't fuel my drive? But then when confronted with a maths problem, his eyes come alive. So this one is for my generation, the ones who found what they were looking for on Google, the ones who followed their dreams on Twitter, pictured their future on Instagram, accepted destiny on Facebook. This one's for my failures and my dropouts, for my unemployed graduates, my shop assistants, cleaners and cashiers with bigger dreams, my self-employed entrepreneurs, my world changers and my dream chasers, because the purpose of why I hate school but love education was not to initiate a worldwide debate, but to let them know that whether 72 or 88, 44 or 68, we will not let exam results decide our fate. Peace. Just these pictures on my phone, sitting.
What do you reckon?
Interesting. He had a flow going. He's speaking out for his generation. What would you say? How old that guy was? About 19, 20?
Nah.
I would say that was a woman.
Oh, see, I wasn't even watching the video. I was looking at the levels.
No, it was a kid. It was a kid. It was a dude, man.
That was not.
Yeah, of course it was.
Did you watch it?
It was a male.
No, did you watch? There's definitely
No, it was a male. No two ways about it. It was a male.
Whether she was male.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. The message, mate. It's the message that counts, not whether.
She was intelligent. She had her eyes wide open. She was eloquent, and he was flipping street. So it shows that none of those things, intelligence and eloquence, does not have to come from your school.
Right. He probably has a dad, too. That's a big problem these days in society. Bunch of, single moms raising children.
Well, it's profitable to be a single mum with a load of kids under your
If you're on the dole, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's another thing that shouldn't be stimulated. That's, it promotes bad. I mean, it promotes just irresponsibility. and it becomes generational.
Yeah.
Kids, the daughters of those types of households, a lot of them, they shoot to get pregnant when they're in high school even, so they can start collecting a check. And that's
Nowadays,
go ahead.
there's a lot of females out there nowadays who want to have kids and just don't want a man around, and they think that that's okay, raising a child. Oh, I don't need a man. I don't want a man. I just want a child. You get that a lot over here in New York. You see that a lot, and you get it. I don't. Them talking about they don't need a man. They don't want a man. They don't want to be tied down to a man, but they want kids.
So would you call that
the new thing now?
Would you call that a malevolent activity type of mindset versus a benevolent type of mindset? Service to self?
I think it's malevolent. I think it's malevolent. That's definitely service to self, and I think it's malevolent because of the fact that you're not thinking for the child, you're thinking about yourself, and that's called selfishness.
It is selfish, but it is neither malevolent nor benevolent. It would depend on who that man is, who that woman is, and who that child is. You cannot say if it's malevolent or benevolent. You can't.
Yeah, I'll say there's a process.
If the father walks out,
hey, Pony, go ahead.
If the father,
the schools are factories. You input a small human, and then it outputs a large human that contains the information when it was processed through that, 10, 15-year period. So they've just created factories for our minds.
Right. It's like a
I went
assembly
through that
line.
factory.
It's an assembly line of tyranny, right? That's the new religion.
Yeah, it's the control of that information through those factories that's alarming, to say the least.
I was going to say, to add to what JB was saying, you have women who don't want anything to do with a man, and a man is doing everything possible to be involved in a child's life. Trust me, because I've seen it.
You have man like woman, and you have woman like man. They exist all over the place. Believe me, I know this is a very hard one for everyone to understand, but I'm asexual. And since I came out as asexual, I can tell you that the first thing that everybody wants is that you are the most prized possession. Everybody
about the child's well-being.
Everybody wants you. They want you. They want you. They want you. You have become a challenge.
Okay, you said it, not
everybody's
me,
going after you.
but I've got to ask you, JB, now. When you say you're asexual, do you mean physically?
This is a very long conversation. Do you really want to get into it?
Well, I kind of just want a yes or a no at this point.
Okay. There are many levels.
And then we might get into it.
There are many levels of sexuality. So I assume that you're hetero. You sound like a hetero person.
Correct.
You act like a hetero person.
Correct in your assumption.
So a hetero person, when you are having your nuptials, which are not nuptials, but when you're having, what's that name from Sheldon? Coitus. When you're having coitus, are you aware that the woman also has feelings and she requires something and she's not your American apple pie?
I'm just quote unquote going downtown, quote unquote type of deal.
Well, let's just start with the normal.
We can't get too dirty. We got to keep it pretty G-rated.
Let's talk of the normal positions that one takes when a man loves a woman and he's planting a seed inside the woman.
Right.
This side, yes, there. Let's take it as that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This one. This is what you desire, isn't it?
Well, that's what nature desires.
Oh, please behave. Everything is nature. So now,
not if you're not reproducing.
Let us go.
No, that's
back.
the reproduction process. Part of the natural reproduction process.
Go back. The natural reproduction process. The whole thing is one. You are all one. So you're always going to reproduce. It doesn't really matter how it's done. It doesn't matter about your taste. It doesn't matter whether she has blonde hair or brown hair or blue eyes or green eyes. It doesn't matter whether she got one tit or two tits. It doesn't. That's not swearing, is it? No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether she likes her toes sucked or not tucked. It doesn't matter if she likes the nape of her neck blown upon or not. It doesn't matter.
Let me ask you a question, JB. Are you in a relationship currently?
Trust me. Now go back to your original question, which was.
Right, go ahead.
I just have to deal with
I want to know the asexual part.
To all sexual stuff, all of it.
Because I have tomato plants that are asexual. But
So
I want you to explain.
If I have to deal with a completely straight, normal American guy, then this is going to be very difficult for him
I don't believe in normal, first off, and I don't act. So
Yeah, I'm on your side there. So, wingman, behave. Yes, go ahead.
You got the floor, JB. Do it.
Make them short and make these ideas short, and so that the answer will only need to be one sentence. One sentence question, one sentence answer.
I was just looking for a yes or a no.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you were taking this, JB. So this path you were taking us on, where were you going with it?
Introduced just as something that was just by the by. But what happened there is that Rectify was interested to see what is this weird person.
Well, you said the word asexual, and you said it self-admittingly. So I wanted to get more in depth into what that really meant.
Yes.
Well, asexual just simply means that he's just turned off to the whole thing of having sex, to the whole concept of having sex. That doesn't mean that he's homosexual, or it just means that that to him, he's not into having sex as much as what we call normal people.
All right.
Oh, right. So like a monk. Monks are asexual then.
I got you.
People don't like
asexual means he's just completely turned off to sex. To him, it's not a big deal.
No, not right in everything that everyone said. That's why you have to do it sentence by sentence.
All right, correct us.
Asexual actually means non-sexual. It's not the drive of our lives. We are not. There's nothing wrong with our plumbing. Male, female, gay, lesbian.
But nobody said that. We just said you're turned off to the whole thing about having sex. Nobody said that your plumbing's not right. That's what asexual means.
No. First of all, I'm giving you that as a definition, as a platform to run off. I don't really think this could take a very long time, because this is never going to...
So there's no straight answer. You're like NASA right now.
There is a straight answer from me, my personal perspective. However, with the programming that is in your minds, the programming that is about Zionists, the programming that is about fluoride, the programming that is about chemtrails, the programming that is about is Beyonce good or not, the programming about is it a Zionist or is it a Jew. All this programming runs all the way through us. All of us have it. So with me bringing up the new subject of a non-sexual being who is completely full.
It sounds like you're trying to come out on the air, and I just wish you would just do it already.
Dude, JB, being a non-sexual being is being somebody who's abstinent. That's not the same thing as being asexual. Asexual is just being completely turned off. Your drive is not there.
Yeah, I think you're using the wrong term. Because asexual means like a flower that's asexual, like on a tomato plant. It's got both sexual organs, so it can actually fertilize itself. You just have to shake the flowers.
Definition of asexual. That is asexual biological structures. That's not the same. That somebody actually said hermaphrodite to me once, which I can use.
Asexual is just somebody who just doesn't really need or doesn't, to them it's just, sex to them is just like blah, whatever. They're not really into it. So then they can go a whole lifetime having sex, and to them it doesn't matter.
I don't need to be protected, but do you see now how this discussion has opened up a whole plethora of ideas, which is what is happening in the truth movement, because it is something unusual. So when you say to somebody that fluoride is not good for their body, that is a person who's of the masses, whom I call the zombies. Can you imagine what happens to their minds? They do not understand what you're talking about because they follow the authorities. The authorities have told them time after time after time, and they have seen thousands and thousands of adverts of these women with beautiful white teeth because they have been using these fluoridated toothpastes. Can you imagine how strong it must and how hard it must be for them to see?
So my question is this then. So being asexual, are you any threat to society?
Away from that. I've already used that as the exercise.
Are you any threat to society, JB?
Did you see how your mind just flew all over the place and you didn't really know where to stand?
JB, are you a threat to society? Ask the question.
JB, understand what I tell to you. You understand what the baby say? The baby say. You understand what happened with the fluoride when you're talking to these normal mass people? The
JB,
same
can you hear me?
They don't understand a damn thing they're talking about. Not a damn thing. And I will decide that if you two understand. Don't try to patronize me like a baby.
JB. Are you
Everybody take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. There's no reason to get angry. I mean, this is the gray zone. We meet in the middle. Right?
I don't know.
And this is why you think I was angry. I said another way. That is all.
Let's just get to another subject, guys. We got a bunch of radiation polluting our Earth right now from Fukushima. And I was kind of contemplating whether or not the legalization of pot that all of a sudden, America's been
I'm not going to
against.
say anything because I think you're too stupid for me. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, man. Much love.
Yeah, I think that was interesting.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Isn't it? But you know what, guys?
Tony's just kicking back going, what the F?
No, you can tell when someone is needs work.
My favorite band, Disturbed.
And that's you can just I don't know what that was all about, man. But I just wanted to say I'm asexual too. I'm a sexual monster in the bed, man. I tell you.
Oh man, my mind's still spinning. I just wanted a straight answer.
Yo, come on, don't go there, wingman. Don't stop making me crack up for the last 20 minutes, dude.
Yeah, why are they legalizing marijuana in the States all of a sudden, after so long of prohibition? Do you think it's related to Fukushima and the radiation, just to make people more calm as we get sick? And that's why Obamacare came out at the same time? Tax money coming in, relief of radiation.
It could be. I don't think it has to do with tax money because I had brought this up before in another roundtable that the problem with legalizing pot is not so much taxing it because it's getting the people it's getting to convince the people to buy it from them when you can actually just grow this thing in your backyard. So it's going to raise. I think it's going to cause more of a problem. More people are probably going to be incarcerated than before, because people are going to be like, "Why do I have to buy when I could grow this thing in my backyard?"
Well, check this out. Another fun fact I learned just the other day about the hemp plant, marijuana, is it absorbs, toxins from the soil better than any other plant out there, including radiation. And because of that attribute, they actually, after the Chernobyl incident back in 1986, they planted all kinds of hemp seed all around that reactor for that reason, to suck it up. It stores it in the stalks.
But then you can't smoke it.
I wouldn't. See, that's another interesting question. Is that getting into this market now? We got Colorado and Washington.
Is it getting into the pot? Is it getting into the pot? And they give it
into the flower, right?
Well, I tell you what, there might be a niche market for radioactive weed. You never know. What would you call it?
Atomic.
Atomic. Yeah, I got some atomic here, mate. Because they always come up with new names. AK-47 for Kalashnikov. Always new names for this stuff. So we got some atomic.
Purple atomic.
You know what I mean? Got some good atomic on the go, man.
Some fuku.
But I said this the other day. I'd actually have radioactive lobster. I was thinking about it because people are saying fish is radioactive now.
Well,
I don't care.
The
my lobster
feeders, yeah.
I don't care if my lobster's glowing. I'll still eat it.
Oh man, as long as the butter's melted.
Yeah, what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Yeah. Lobster is just.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done lobster or shrimp. Just because they're bottom feeders, and I know the heavy, the massive plutonium and uranium and cesium, not so much the cesium, but the other two, they like to sink to the bottom of the ocean where the bottom feeders reside. So it's unclean already.
Wait a minute, this is like
the Bible.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I loved my lobster back in the day.
You speak about lobster as if, I don't know, you're very, you fancy lobster, no?
Well, yeah. Do you know, I think, I'll be honest with you, it is the only thing that I can eat nowadays that when I eat, I have that kind of, wow, this is nice, man, this is really nice, you know what I'm saying? It's the only thing I can think of.
The second time I heard you talk about lobster, you got a wow factor, you're like, wow, lobster.
Yeah.
And the second time,
It's like a nice T-bone, right? It's a nice
Right.
T-bone steak and a bottle of A1 in front of you.
Well, the problem with steak, I like T-bone steak. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but only in America because the steak over here we get is chewy and horrible and tasteless. So,
well, ours is radioactive, so.
Or if not, it has mad cow. If not, it's mad cow disease.
Hey, talking of mad cow, you know, I was watching these. They've got these shows in the UK now, like you know, the customs at the airport when they check your baggage and stuff.
Like the TSA here,
Yeah,
Transportation
nothing to
Security
declare, they're
Association. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got them covering Australia and US and all these various countries, and these guys are a joke. These guys are a joke. You know, they'll slap a fine on you for having a ham sandwich in your luggage that's undeclared. If you've got a salami that's undeclared. Say you've declared 10 things in your baggage, right? And you forget to declare the salami. They'll hit you with a 300 quid fine.
Is it the money or is it the power? It's both.
I don't know, but it's ridiculous. Because, like, you know, let's be realistic here. You know, how can you do someone for having a salami when you ship a container in at the local port, you know? How can you do someone for bringing in a few sunflower seeds when at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Stop all the logs?
Does anything in government make sense anymore? Everything needs to be flipped upside down for you to make any sensical, observation about it these days.
You know,
everything is 1984 bass backwards.
And the thing is, right, there was no controls regarding bringing foodstuffs in when I was a kid. And you know, the world still existed. There were no problems. There were no diseases that were coming in from
Why are you traveling with salami?
Exactly, because one of the things I used to do was bring in, like, big ham, the cured ham, you know, like farm ham from Spain. And you're not allowed to do that anymore. So they're kind of like... it just sucks.
Smuggling meats into other countries on like Delta Airlines or something? What's going on, man?
So much of, you know, a salami, bringing the salami is going to cause what? You know, it's going to cause mayhem, is it? It's like,
salami terrorist strikes again.
Right, attack of the salamis, you know what I'm saying? What's going on?
Salami bandit.
That sounds kind of
Was
rude.
that the secret of the underwear bomber? He had a salami in there?
I'm not even gonna go there, dude.
Is that a salami in your pocket?
Oh, man. Why are we talking salami, man? And TSA, it's just not good visuals.
No, what I'm saying...
Hamburger.
It's a joke. It's a joke, and they're slapping fines on people that are really distraught about it. You know, a lot of people can't afford a 300 quid or $1 fine, and they're slapping fines for people for having an apple in their luggage. An undeclared frickin' apple. Oh, wow, shoot me, you know, frickin' hell.
Anybody out there want to talk terroristic salamis and sausages, give us a call, 347-688-2902. Oh, yeah, TSA is going to get you. And they're going to arm these guys now. That's what I've been reading. They're going to actually weaponize these guys. They're not even under oath.
You know, we need a TSA for the TSA. That's what we need. We need another body or branch to protect us from the moronic freaking establishments.
1-800-Blackwater, man.
Yeah. We need to set up a private Blackwater for the people to protect us against their madness. That's what we need to do.
I don't want it to become like Egypt or Libya or anything of the such, you know. I mean, that's ugly stuff over there going on with their revolution. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
we can do it. Like what you're saying, though, reform in a sense. You know, we don't have to do it gangsta, though. You know, we can do the reform by non-compliance and then rebuilding our own monetary system, maybe go like balls deep into Bitcoin, you know, and start that community-wise. Barter.
Yeah. I mean, if we can build up whatever it is we need to build up to, firstly, meet our needs, and secondly, meet our requirements or desires, you know, build up our legal system outside of the legal system, build up our finance system outside of the normal finance system, build up where we get our food from, self-sufficiency and so on and so forth, because this does work.
But then we're still going to need the Federal Reserve note to actually put value into whatever money we come up with. This is the conversation we were having before.
again, even with Bitcoin, how do you cash into how do you cash in Bitcoin? What are you going to use? Federal Reserve note. People who buy Bitcoin, when they want to cash their Bitcoin in, what are you going to give them? Fake money? No, you got to give them a Federal Reserve note. So regardless, they're still winning. We got to get rid of the whole monetary system as a whole. Period. Because there's no way getting
the
around.
Chip, take the mark of the beast, my friend. 666.
There's no way getting around the Federal Reserve note.
But that will all collapse. If you stop going to these corporations, if you stop, propping it up, then that system will collapse. And I think it's good to facilitate the collapse of the monetary system. But the thing is, if you're going to do that, you do need to come in with a replacement system.
No, absolutely. That doesn't involve the Fed. I completely agree. Yeah. But right now, they're in charge. And if you're gonna have something like Bitcoin, or if you're gonna come up with a whole new monetary system, okay, you like Bitcoin or something, to that extent, you're still it needs value. That money is gonna it needs value from somewhere. You can't just have currency
transaction
through the internet without value.
Well, there's value in product or service, right? The first transaction with Bitcoin was a pizza. Actually, it was a delivered pizza, and it was they accepted the Bitcoin at the pizza place. It was the first transaction ever recorded. You can go wiki it, but the guy paid whoever paid.
So how did the pizza?
Like 1,000.
And how did the pizza parlor? How did the pizza parlor get that note? How did they get their money for that pizza?
Same way as Federal Reserve notes, man. It's faith in the value.
Man. Yeah.
And so what they started was the building of that faith and the value of that Bitcoin by doing that first transaction.
Yeah.
There's people
pizza
that
parlors
sold
really
cars
don't
through Bitcoin.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. Pizza parlors really don't count because when it comes to doing taxes, like for them, you can lie about how many pizza pies you make because they really don't count them. You don't have somebody there from the IRS counting.
No, I don't care. GE didn't pay any taxes, got a bailout, and made record profits.
Actually give away a free pie for a Bitcoin. But try doing that with Macy's. Try doing that buying a car. Give them a Bitcoin. Be like, oh, here's my Bitcoin. Have faith that it's worth something one day. Let me get that Mercedes.
You only deal with people that are dealing with Bitcoin.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
that raises a problem that I'm telling you right now. It just does. I understand the whole concept behind it, but you're still going to need something to back the Bitcoin up, or you're still going to need value
the
for
thing
it.
About Bitcoin, Wakeem, is the whole thing is, like you said, we need to rebuild it, change it, right, whatever. Bitcoin allows at least the hands of the vultures can no longer touch it. And the prince.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely right. I'm all for that, man. I'm all for the shutdown of the Fed, breaking the whole system down. But, until then, they're going to have their hand in everything, whether it's Bitcoin or not.
Rothschilds are getting into it.
Whatever it is, dude. Whatever it is. Because people are cashing in Bitcoin for what? Federal Reserve notes.
We need some people out there from Anonymous to call in on this. We need you technical wizards out there. 347-688-2902. Get in here and give us the lowdown on Bitcoin and what they're going to do with it. I'm inquiring. So
to me, it's the new one world currency. But even if it is legit, if you can control the flow of information, if you can fear people into selling, buying, then you've got the control of the outcome. The majority, it's all mathematical anyway, so they know what they're doing. I think it's under full control. If you look at its origins, it's got a mystery origin, so right there, you got to question that.
I thought it was some Japanese kid.
There was a mixture. When they analysed the original writings that the person released, there was like 3 different people when they analysed the language, and it was like a Japanese, an Englishman, and even an Australian writings in there. So it has suspicious origins, basically.
Well, yeah. Well, I put it to you that the person who proposed that is suspicious in themselves, and Occupy was of suspicious origin.
Where did it come from then, Windman? What do you know? What can you add?
Gossip. It's just gossip.
Well, Miker in the chat room says Bitcoin is unsustainable. There will be only supercomputers that can mine it.
Amazon,
right?
is
But here's the thing, Miker. There's a cap of 21 million on the Bitcoin. So eventually, time's going to run out for mining altogether, and it's all going to turn into the new currency of just trade and exchange.
Yeah, well, the profitability for mining will run out in about 6 months, actually. And then after 6 months, it will no longer be profitable to mine these things. Or of any benefit.
I think, honestly, I think we just need to go back to the way it was like 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, where people just traded goods. And there was no currency involved.
Throw rocks at each other.
Exactly. Or stones.
Well, look,
absolutely
not. If money is based on trust, why not create a monetary system based on each and every individual, i.e. the population?
Indeed.
I've always said use fingernails and toenails for exchange because we all grow them consistently. And yeah, and you can put them on a scale,
That's rank.
Hey, it sounds weird, but hey.
Because I've got big toenails, man. You want to see my toenails? They come off in like...
Hey, you'd be a rich man. I want to give us the Gray Zone a selfless plug. I've never done it before. But, YouTube, The Gray Zone, all one word, A in the word gray. That's The Gray Zone at YouTube. All one word, A in the word
gray. Great with A, not with a E.
Oh, I was going to say, are you recording this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hold on, I don't consent.
Oh, it was a public call.
That's not funny, man.
I plead the fifth.
Let me give you my lawyer's number, and you give me yours.
Okay. 0800. I don't
pay
give a
Bitcoin. We'll pay them with Bitcoin.
Yeah, we'll pay in Bitcoin. No worries, man. Here you go. We'll settle this. We don't need to go to court. But yeah, YouTube, the Gray Zone people. We appreciate it. Let the ad play. It gives us a couple pennies. We don't get paid here at the station. When you donate to the station, it goes to the station over at Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Hit the donate now button. Yeah, we appreciate it, and that's the only way we breathe. This place does not work without you, the listener.
I also wanted to
go ahead.
I also wanted to make mention about Spreaker again. It's spelled Spreaker. Spreaker. Go to Spreaker, look up Revolution Radio, and hit the like button for you listeners out there. We need about 80 more likes to get us going on iHeartRadio, which would be a bigger and larger audience. Also, if you can, send a self-addressed envelope to Nighthawk, and all that information's on our website, freedomslips.com, and he'll send you over some business cards so that way you can hand them out to friends and family, and we can expand the listeners out there. We can have a little bit more listeners so they can know what's going on here at Revolution Radio.
Absolutely.
So yes, I actually have thought about this monetary system problem, and what it could be replaced by. And my proposal would be actually having a 3-tier currencies, which I can go into if you'd like. But basically, it's a 3-tier currency. Notice I didn't wait for the response there. 3-tier currency, and one would be a protest currency. So if you're not happy with the product you're buying, you give over. And this will be recorded. You give over, or you register a protest currency against an establishment, and that would have a negative effect on the bottom line of the either the bottom line of the profit or even better the wages of the individual of that company. There would be another currency, which would be I call it the green currency, which would be for normal day-to-day goods, and then you have a blue currency for luxury goods.
All right, we're going to break, guys. We're going to do overtime here at the Gray Zone. We'll be back in about 3 minutes at 347-688-2902. Get in here. freedomslips.com chat room.
listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Welcome back to the TheGrayZone Roundtable here at Revolution Radio at revolutionradio.com. We're going into overdrive tonight, as Jones would put it. We're going to do an extra time. I don't know when I kick off, but we're here. And we lost JB, but we're still joined with my co-host Joaquin, Wingman, and Pony from Down Under. We're talking about everything, A to Z, like always.
Hey, I got one for you. So, Michael Schumacher's nationality. German, right?
All right.
Yeah, he's still in critical condition. And he was in a skiing accident. And just in the last 24 hours, the Chancellor of Germany, which is kind of like a Prime Minister, was involved in a skiing accident.
Is that Angela Merkel?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
And this has led to her cancelling her trip to Poland. So I just found it interesting. 2 skiing accidents, both of German.
Tie this into it, Pony. How about the Aspen plane crash?
Yeah. But there was Mexicans on board, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But they were just the flight attendant, the pilots, and co-pilot. Fortunately, one person died. But
yeah, there was a bunch of rumors. There was some big dog on that plane for a little bit there.
It was spotted by Leanne Rimes and a comedian. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of coincidental, right?
And they tweeted it. But that plane landed upside down. It was burnt to a crisp. It's crazy.
That is very interesting. And that's that's a ski resort there in Aspen, Colorado.
This Dennis Rodman thing's got me a bit worried.
Is he still over there in North Korea?
Well, he came back late December, and now he's gone back over with now these are the headlines. Dennis Rodman delivers all-star team in North Korea as birthday present to Kim Jong-un. So all-star team, I'm just thinking, watch the skies. We're coming up to Comet Iceland's debris date.
Yeah.
So, and then one of these headlines was funny as Kim Jong-un sets 120 wild dogs upon one of his uncles or something. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So that means something with the numbers.
In other words, everybody out there, the new leader of North Korea basically took his uncle, declared him a traitor to his establishment, his cabinet, and sent a pack of hungry dogs on him to eat him alive.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, R3. I don't believe none of that happened. I think it's just propaganda.
Could be. Wasn't there.
For us.
I wasn't there. Couldn't tell you.
You think it's propaganda for us to think that he's a tyrant leader and we need to get rid of him?
Mini Hitler.
Exactly. Another Saddam.
Yeah. Well, he's that third world crazy they talked about with the asteroid threat, third world crazies, and then aliens.
Didn't he just recently, probably another piece of propaganda, but didn't he send a fax to South Korea threatening them with warfare?
Nuclear disaster.
We're coming after you.
You ever rang someone's number and you've called their fax machine?
Right.
Do you know that in Russia, in Russian central Moscow, that dogs are allowed to roam freely? They've got wild dogs that roam freely, and during the day, and obviously get food off for everyone. And towards the evening, they'll go into the subway system, hop on a tube, and then get off at the same stop every day.
Crazy dogs, smart little guys.
Yeah,
That's like cows in India, right?
No, cows in India don't use the tube, but in Russia, the
They
dogs
don't
know
have a tube.
the dogs know how to use the metro, and they use the metro to go. They live outside of town, and then they come into town for their food. And
I've seen videos on that. That's crazy.
The question is, do they pay? Do they pay, or are they getting fined?
They can fit under the turnstile, man. They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't pay, man.
Mm.
So if you wanna skip the fare in the Russian metro system, dress up as a dog.
Just act like a dog, right?
Sit on your knees.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hey, another thing I came across. Another thing I came across the other day was, have you guys heard about the immortal jellyfish?
It lives forever?
Yeah, it actually reproduces itself. It doesn't.
No.
Is it asexual?
What happens is, so it'll go reach an adult, and then what happens is that it reverses the whole process. It goes back to its original juvenile state.
It reaches a certain age, and it goes back in time. Then it goes back like as a baby. It lives forever.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
They've been doing that forever, though.
No, you said it reproduces itself.
It could. It takes a piece of itself and it separates itself, and then it makes an exact copy of itself. It clones itself. It does that also, but it also reaches a certain age and then it goes back in age.
Yeah. So
Jellyfish
they're
do that.
effectively immortal. Clever, huh? I mean, what's Darwin
pretty
to say
much.
about that one, huh?
I got something to bring up.
Well, the jellyfish, they do clone themselves. It's pretty funny how they do that. They clone themselves, and once they reach a certain age, they reverse. They go back, and then they repeat the whole process again.
Do you think
So
their
once they
consciousness?
get old,
Do you think their consciousness transfers into their clone? This is something Michael Hemingston would have an answer for.
What would you say if a clone knocked on your door? Your clone. What would you say to it?
I'd ask him a tricky question that only I would know.
What would you ask him? Go on, give us an example.
Oh, I
Something
can't
like
give
a
it
left
out, man. That's
right
secret. So secret we can't talk about it.
I'd be like, what happened behind the bike shed 1980?
Right.
I'd be like, how do I know you're me?
I'd ask him how many fingernail clippings I have in my safe.
I'd ask him, how many fingers am I holding up behind me?
So you think it would be a psychic relationship then?
I wouldn't even say what I would ask my clone on air. It's
I'd be
that
like,
person.
better hung than me.
Man.
Is that what you meant?
I do
Question
believe in
B.
doppelgangers, though. I've met doppelgangers of mine.
If you were the clone and you knew you were the clone, would you want to meet who you were cloned from? Or vice versa, would you want to meet the person who's being cloned from you?
That reminds me of that film, what was it, Something Island?
Yeah, with the
Ewan McGregor?
Skywalker dude. Yeah.
Where they were breeding clones of individuals underground for purposes of body parts.
Yep, and they got out for celebrities and stuff. Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. It was a good film. Shutter Island, isn't it?
Are you talking about the Dulce base? Ultralater Mesa?
No, it was a movie based on cloning underground in an underground facility of humans for extra body parts for big rich people, and Ewan McGregor.
Pretty much based on a true story.
Yeah, he got out and found himself and took over that guy's life.
There's a lot of truth behind that, Tony. There's a lot of truth behind that.
Get up on your mic
What's
a
his
little,
name?
Kim.
What's his name? The guy's name is Costello. Costello was the first one to come out with that. He also came out with documents stating that that's exactly what they're doing in the Dulce base in Ultralater Mesa. They're cloning beings.
I've heard that.
And for parts, they're also making aliens beings that look like extraterrestrials. They're making them. And this is all a part of a program that deals with labs, military, abduction labs, in which they put these beings that we made, the U.S. government, in these craft, which are like the TR-3B Astra, the TR-3C Chameleon, the TR-3A Black
the triangle UFOs.
It's trying, yeah, exactly. And we make abductions seem like they're, from beings that come from outer space, when in fact they're made here in the United States.
Regarding abductions, I suspect one of the consistent things regarding abductions is that there's instruments involved, and that they're often in a state of fear on this table and stuff like that. You hear that story many times. So my question, I just find it highly unlikely that an alien would have to abduct so many humans to understand what the human's about. So one of the things that's consistent is the fear factor, and one of the consistent things is that they're in a state of fear and they're being induced into that state of fear through seeing these instruments and things that are being used on them. So I think the instruments are actually incidental, and I think the aliens are actually harvesting what I call exotic energy. That's what I think is going on personally.
So like vampire sucking of us individuals, type of thing?
Yeah, effectively. Each individual, there are certain energies that are what I call exotic, and if you know how to harness them, you can, they're ambrosial, so to speak, if you know how to harvest them. And I think that maybe some of these alien races know how to harvest the exotic energy that is contained within us that we can potentially release under a state of extreme fear.
That's why a lot of murderers, they'll torture you to death and put the worst fear in the world into your heart and your mind before they actually kill you, is because of that exact thing you just said. Yeah. It gives them more of a harvest.
And there's also a paranormal aspect to what happens if you can or do harvest that exotic side of the energy. Potentially it means you have a greater insight or can do, there is a reason for it, in other words, Not only do they get off on it,
or they're abducting people to alter DNA to raise consciousness on this planet, because we're not evolving the way we should be spiritually and mentally as a human race, which is why you see now kids coming out who are extremely intelligent, coming out with children who are indigo children, coming out with people, kids who are hybrids and whatnot, and this is what's going on now. This is now they're having a hand in unlocking our codings and everything that's in our DNA, and bringing to we're just becoming universal consciousness and shared dreaming is becoming a common thing now, and I have a feeling that the reason for them abducting people the way they're doing it now is not so much to research us, dude. I don't think that's the reason why they're doing it. They're doing it to up the ante when it comes to us. They're like, look, you guys need help. You guys are evolving too slow, so we're going to give you a hand, and we're going to raise consciousness. And that's exactly what's going on. That's what I feel it's going on.
But surely, if that were the case, why would they need all the instrumentation? Surely to change the DNA in the individual, you'd hear of different stories. Maybe you'd have to recycle all the blood in the stream, or maybe something like that. In fact, if there are any aliens out there listening, perhaps you'd like to call in, maybe?
347-688-2902. Any aliens out there? We'll take illegal or legal ones.
Yeah. Call us in. If you've got Wi-Fi, I mean, I don't know if UFOs pick up Wi-Fi, but if you've got Wi-Fi, Skype us.
Skype us, man. Ask Jack 666. Ask Jack 666. That's our Skype. All aliens. It's a call for the aliens.
There we go.
And anybody else that wants to join the conversation.
Or maybe if you think you were an alien maybe in a previously, or remember having memories of being an alien, or that might be quite interesting too.
We'll take the close encounters of the first, second, third kinds. We'll take them all. So yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to see when when I used to go out of body, every time I went out of body and I'd go outside of my bedroom door, on the hallway were always, nearly always, I can't remember them not being there, these tall white beings. Tall white beings, thin, glowing beings. They were always there, about 5 of them.
And they would just sit there and stare at you?
They looked like out-of-body aliens, to be honest. They would just stare at me, yeah. No,
Did you attempt to make any communication with them?
No, I don't think I did. Because they would always kind of scare me, and I'd go back into my body.
Wow. So you've been a lot of out-of-body stuff happen through your life.
I used to do all sorts of. I was super psychic when I was a kid, so I used to do all sorts. I used to jump into minds of people. I used to shadow people's consciousnesses. I used to travel to America out of body, quite a lot as well. I always used to go straight to America when I went out of body. There seems to be more happening over there. I went back in time. No, was it forward in time once when I went out of body? A portal appeared in my bedroom. I think I mentioned that story before. What else did I used to do? I had a merging. I had an out-of-body experience walking home from school once. And then when I came back into my body...
What happens? You just fall over on the grass while it's going on?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. But when I came back into my body, I was in the same place. So I went out of body, and then when I came back into my body, I was 2 people. I was no longer one person. And the other person that I was had passed away.
Weird. I've never had an out-of-body experience, but I heard for a lot of people it's terrifying because they get locked in it to where they have sleep paralysis when they wake up and they can't move, but they're conscious. Read a lot about that happening, and it's actually occurred with my wife before. I'm not saying she's an OBE or, anything like that, but she's had sleep paralysis before to where she'll wake up and she says it's like having a really heavy weight, like somebody sitting on your chest, and you can't move any part of any limb at all. You're just stuck, but you're conscious.
Yeah. Funny thing about that incident I just mentioned is that when I came back into my body, I had a new set of memories, and the new set of memories I had felt just as much like me and my memories as my memories as a kid.
So it was a calming effect?
It was just me coming to me, but it was a parallel life. But when I look into the memories of the other me, because I will use that term because I can't differentiate the difference, those memories just feel like my own, just in another parallel life.
So do you think both lives appended or came together, and that's who you are now, and you were lacking your child?
And for I know, there might even be more me's out there,
Right. Like
and the chances are
that... I got you.
Yeah, I mean, there might even be more me's in, other universes, other worlds. I don't know. The point is that maybe at some point we'll all experience a merging with our other selves, because it's happened to me, so why can't it happen to...
This is what it's like when worlds collide.
When worlds collide, exactly.
I believe that. I believe we could be even, interdimensionally shifting into each other, into multi-dimensions, becoming one. And that's why there's more deja vu, more vivid, lucid dreaming, all that good stuff.
And, a lot of this can be realized or facilitated or put into greater effect when we start to become more energetically amplified. Because there is something that happens when you increase your energetic state. And you increase your energetic state, one through joy, one through mastery, another one through mastery, experimentation, adrenaline, endorphin, drugs, so on and so forth. And there are various ways, enlightenment, meditation. And, if you can master the way to do that, you'll find that you will enter paranormal fields of awareness whereby your understanding of the world around you changes drastically from what it was previously. And I personally, from my own adventures, if you might call them, I get the impression that the world is layered. It's like an onion, it's layered. And depending on where you are energetically, depends on where in that layer you are. And that could include, even dimensionally speaking, the dimension being a part of that layer too.
Layers make me cry, man, every time I cut through them.
You know?
Tony, you still with us, brother?
For those who aren't aware, Wingman was a Montauk boy and was part of the Montauk Project.
Mic up, brother. Mic up.
Joaquin, that was offline, mate.
We're not supposed to talk about this stuff, man.
It doesn't matter.
We're going to have to get you now, Joaquin.
Yeah, I tend to keep that offline. But
1-800 Blackwater. I got it, guys. It's speed dial.
Well, now you mentioned it, yeah, so, I tell you what, guys, when I do tap into go into the zone, although it's sometimes a lonely journey in terms of, it's not, I'd love to have more shared experiences, there's no two ways about it in the physical, but when you do tap into it, you realize that that's what it's more about that than it is, anything else, because it seems there's so much reward to it. There's so many questions are answered, so much insight, so much magic as well. It becomes really magical at times. And it's like someone mentioned about, the ayahuasca or hallucinogen earlier. And it's very similar to that in terms of when you've done it, you understand it and you're in it, you get it. But if you've never been there, then you just don't get it. And it's the same for people that attack marijuana. It's like when you smoke marijuana and not just once, but a few more times than that, you get it. You know what it's about. You have the insight. You're in the club, so to speak. But, and it's always attacked from outside in, never attacked from inside out, and that's because those that use it, for whatever reasons, get them why it's so beneficial and what how it helps them.
Oh, there's all kinds of benefits. Almost every ailment you can think of, it helps. Pretty much. So, I've been using it as it's a great facilitator for me because for some reason. It's twofold as well. One reason is it's a good way of me, because I'm super psychic and super sensory. Right.
It's a way for me to turn on my senses in a controlled manner. It's like, because it's that way it's easy for me to differentiate between.
It sections everything off for you.
Exactly.
Like
real world
partitions.
It gives me a partition. And that helps my sanity, because it means I've got the normal world without the switch turned on, and then the other more super sensory psychic world when and that transition is done through the process of me having, and it could be even a quarter of a joint, it doesn't matter, it's an activator, even half a joint. Rarely do I finish a joint anyway, and it's never that loaded, but that tiniest activation is enough for me to flip the switch, turn on all my senses and tune into whatever it is that I want to tune into, and it works for me.
I think it's God's gift to man, tell you the truth.
And it is a great tool for my mind. I have learned so
fibers
much.
To fuel, to feeling good, to I'm trying to use F's here. To
facilitate
family
function,
constipation.
But and if you're prepared for something like ayahuasca, if you think you're ready for the next stage of learning, and I do see a lot of these drugs as tools for learning, then I'd say go for it. You want to try out. You think you're ready for the experience of ayahuasca or DMT, then go for it.
I'd rather
make sure that you're
I'd rather give the advice of marijuana as far as if you're interested to go for it rather than having a beer. Actually,
Yeah,
alcohol's a lot worse. Way worse.
It's not like you get the police. 10-4, we've got a bunch of high hooligans. It doesn't happen,
Right.
It's just that way, causing ruckus. It's normally people that are drunk that cause problems and get into aggression and fights and cause trouble. It's just a lot of the time. But
you don't have smoke bar fights going on in Amsterdam.
No, quite exactly. So it's a no-brainer in that respect. But like I say, it's been a great tool for me. Really has. And I don't smoke it anymore because I don't need to, because everything I've learned from it. So I'm just kind of sitting back now, maybe, and absorbing what I've learned and processing it, if you like.
I cannot eat without it these days. I've got a few different ailments, which I'm not going to go into. They're personal, but it's definitely a medicine for me, and it allows me to have an appetite. I'll leave it at that.
The funny thing is, one of the things I've noticed when I did smoke it is that it's quite hard to get across, but my mind used to go super active. It was the opposite. A lot of people kind of mong out. Well, my mind used to go super active because
you get all paranoid type of thing.
No, not paranoid. Just my senses were lighting up.
You see the entire universe for what it is.
More so, yeah.
You see the gears and the wheels. And
what I found was the problem was that I needed more happening. When I smoked marijuana, I needed more happening in my environment to keep my mind occupied.
Needed more
stimulus. And I found that I would run out of stimuli in my own environment that could facilitate the continuation of my altered state. And so I used to get very depressed. Well, not very depressed, but I used to get a little bit uncomfortable or agitated because there was no continuation of the things that were, occupying me. And that was a problem. And I think, I don't know how to get around that, but...
It's like an itch you couldn't scratch?
Something like that. And I noticed that, the distractions weren't enough for me to justify doing it any longer. So
what was your justification for doing it? It was just spiritual?
Knowledge, really.
Just different angle of perception.
Yeah, knowledge. I love information. And what I noticed is that more and more veils were being lifted as I pursued my meditative state and my altered states. And explored what was happening. So things like synchronicity used to be very prevalent. Things like channeling of energy and being able to perceive or read energy lines. Going to sacred spaces and sacred sites and seeing or interpreting what that site is about. I could only do because of my understanding of the flow of chi and how that incorporates or into the flow of the lay of the land and the energy of the land and the layout of a site, for example.
Straight harmony.
And sound is very important to me. And I learned languages. Just from smoking cannabis, right? Get this. I learned various languages. I've learned about the language of sound. I've learned about the language of movement. I've learned about the energetic flow of and using that as a forms of communication and channeling or tapping into that higher dimensional aspect of consciousness. I learned all those things and one led on to the other. Sorry, I'm going on a bit long, but it's very fascinating.
Not you. The doorbell just means we got a caller. You just dropped off. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Wingman.
No, so it's been a real adventure and I've reaped so much reward from it. So much so that, there's things I won't talk about because they're so paranormal that I'm a bit shy of talking about them.
Two callers now at once. Sorry about that, Wingman. David Unger, what's going on? And Pete, Pete just dropped, but call back in, Pete. What's going on, David, from down under?
How you doing, guys?
Awesome. How are you?
I heard what the topic was.
What's on your mind?
Well, I was looking in the chat. I just got home, and someone said they were talking about pot. Is that right?
Oh yeah, always. We love pot. It's God's gift to man, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's true. It's a plant. Should be legal. I completely agree. It has medicinal value. But which state is it that just legalized it?
Colorado and Washington.
Good for Colorado and Washington. Good for you. But finally seeing that prohibition doesn't work, and that tax revenue is quite a good thing.
You think it's anything to do with Fukushima radiation? Just because we're all going to get sick soon, so...
yeah, you're all going to die, so what does it matter, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I saw a news story in the online newspaper, and it showed people passed out in the street. And the headline was, legalization has led to marijuana overdoses all over the place.
I heard
in Colorado, right?
A pot cookie recently in Colorado, and they made a big story out of that. I don't know, it could be propaganda, but yeah. So some kid got really high and went to school, some little girl.
But they don't talk about all the alcohol-related overdoses where people fall asleep. That's not news, is it? Exactly. I just wanted to... it shocked me that they decided to go down that slant. Yeah? They didn't show the happy stories, or they didn't compare the road toll from one week to the next.
We've been rejoined by JB. What's going on, JB? Welcome back.
Hello. I hope your mind is more open. I'm listening to your pot conversation.
Keep your mind open, but don't let your brain fall out.
Listen, my brain is far secure in my mind.
Okay.
Don't make your brain come from your penile area. So, let me listen to Pony. Sorry, who was that talking? Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was David Unger.
David, okay.
I've heard you on the calls before. It's a pleasure to meet you, and be on the roundtable with you as well. So, what was your take, guys, on that news story being presented with these ODs from marijuana? It just made me laugh. Yeah. It's not like ODing from heroin and, any other, legally purchased pharmaceutical. It's...
First of all, I think...
sleep.
David, I think it's all a propaganda because nobody's ever OD'd on marijuana. All of a sudden now it's legal and people are ODing on marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
All right, we've been joined on the call by Pete. How's it going, Pete? What's on your mind?
Pretty good. I just got a couple quick things to say. Number one, I'm asexual.
What's that mean?
Number two, my fingernails, I could clip off the size of a quarter.
All right, that's pretty gross, but I want to know what asexual means to you, and why are you asexual?
Because that was the topic of last hour.
Not really. It was kind of just thrown out there.
Okay, how about asexual being? There's a space between the A and the S.
I gotcha. So what else is on your mind, Pete?
I changed my name on my Skype. So.
Good for you, buddy. People change their avatars too all the time. It's like an art form.
No, like girls change their Facebook profile pics.
Yeah. I guess I don't have a Fed book.
I've had Facebook for 6 years. I've had 2 different profile pics in 6 years.
Sound like the average sheep.
Oh, the average guy.
The average herder likes the average sheep.
Dave's changed his picture, I see, to the hieroglyph, the Egyptian hieroglyph that contains a very obvious picture of a helicopter. very obvious picture of a submarine and a very obvious picture of an aircraft and a UFO.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys don't do the cameras on the show?
No, this is radio, and you're on the air, by the way.
I know. I could sign in with my...
We don't need our mugs on the air.
Okay.
That's why we do radio.
So congratulations on being on XM.
Oh, we're not there yet. We're still working. We need everybody out there to go to Spreaker. That's SPREAKER.com. Look up Revolution Radio and give us a vote, because we have to tally up a certain amount before the contracts are allowed to even be signed. So, Spreaker.com. It's speaker with an R in there.
Well, you guys have an XM logo next to your Revolution Radio logo.
Well, unless we had stuff that happened in the last 12 hours that I haven't gotten the memo about, I'm not sure.
Where's that found, Pete?
Oh, on my iTunes, not iTunes.
We do broadcast at iTunes.
No,
Yes, we do.
No, it's the other app. One app. I got to look it up here.
Spreaker.
You're on a cell phone, smartphone, so you're probably on TuneIn.
Yeah, tune in. That's it. Yeah.
By the way, everybody, you go to freedomslips.com and scroll down. Oh, right away, if you're on a smartphone, it'll detect it. Just click on Studio A or B. It's the first menu you get, and it automatically will take you to TuneIn and podcast.
Hey, have you guys heard the conspiracy that when a Bigfoot story comes out, there's an event that takes place days later?
Like what
You
kind
heard that
of
one
event?
before? Terrorism, something big.
So is that like a immediate
like a
report to wake up the cells to get them activated?
Yeah, a go code type deal, apparently. I mean, you wouldn't believe it in the first place, a Bigfoot story. Anyway, so I heard about it a few months back, and something did happen after a story came out. Might have been this Syrian thing, but I'd have to double check it. Anyway, point is, a Bigfoot story has come out. Just quickly, a wilderness tracker says he shot and killed a Bigfoot who he named Hank in late 2012, but he kept the mystery under wraps until now. I'll post it in the Skype box. I'm not down with the Bigfoot thing, but I just wanted to point out that link that was made a few months back. Perhaps not.
Pony, see, I'm getting the impression you're big into kind of coincidences, not coincidences, or synchronicities and things like that.
Yeah.
So you see,
There's a frog on the moon, wingman.
Are you looking for patterns then? Is that what you've been doing?
No, they find me.
The patterns find you?
Yeah, unfortunately. But I do go looking for them, so it's a win-win. I'll post this now.
So have you got any thoughts about these patterns you've been spotting?
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, the ISON thing, for me, it's not over. Where's this? What's going on here? All right, so basically, ISON was given dates early on, and each time these dates have come around, I've tried to predict what's going to happen. Geez, I had a tsunami down, but that didn't pan out good. But the government shut down October 1st when ISON was already in the news to go over Mars. And then December 26th when it reached, it was supposed to be closest to Earth, but it dissolved. It's gone. It's dead to me. But the dates live on. And on that date, Obama signed the NDAA Act for 2014. And that he retained indefinite detention. But I'm thinking, like, the military, they won't just go into your house, but they did in Boston. That was like the dry run that we all saw. So I think they need the big event to have the military all stirred up for that martial law type thing. And these dates, I don't think will go through the debris field. I think it's code for action, the last date. It could be with North Korea, but I'm not certain. It could be just another law that's passed. Again, there was action with the Pope. All these world nations and rulers that match up to me. Even Comet Lovejoy matched freaking Dennis Rodman, R1 Lovejoy. He was the #1 rebounder in the NBA during his reign with the Bulls. So I just see all these little correlations, connections. Even on the same date he went into North Korea, a story came out about an artificial worm. And he is known as the worm. So the synchronicity connection, I don't know. It's there for me. There's no string, so I can't prove any of it. But we'll see what happens.
But you've got suspicions, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, and even as we go into this year of the horse, the last 2 months, the horse stories have been amazing. Like, Paul Walker died in a Porsche, unfortunately, and the Porsche symbol is a horse. As with his Ferrari, who Shui's in hospital at the moment, critical condition. They're banning the horse and carriage in New York. A 4.4 million year old horse was found in November. Katy Perry is releasing Dark Horse as I can't even speak. But yeah, as we're transitioning, it's like an astrological clutch, like a cog, right? You know, the cog, it's still inside the other cog as it's going into the next cog. So we're coming out of this snake here into this horse here, and we're seeing it with the big worm, the big Bertha in Seattle. That got blocked by a steel pipe. Now, even if you go back to 2001, that was the year of the snake, and it was the white metal snake. And this year is going to be the green wood horse. So you take 2001, the white metal snake, I mean, that's too freaking obvious right there. So we'll see what happens in these coming weeks, in this transitional period. We've got 2 new moons in this month, same month, and a micro moon on the 15th. That's when the moon's the furthest away from Earth. And that's the ice on debris date from the 12th through to the 16th, which I don't think will get hit, but I can't say. I cannot say. I just do expect big events coming up. Over.
Okay. Okay, rectify. What's the next date that correlates with 333?
You tell me, Pete.
I'm not good on numerology like you are.
That's Pony section. He's the big bad man on all that stuff.
On a different note, did you hear about the UFO that just came out today? Reported a near midair collision with a UFO over London.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. It was over London, right over Heathrow.
Well, it's 34,000 feet, 20 miles outside of Heathrow. So it wasn't landing or taking off from Heathrow. It was passing by. And they didn't identify the airline as an Airbus A320 is all they said. But the pilot thought they were going to get hit. He actually ducked toward the co-pilot.
That's what Wingman was saying. He brought that story to the airwaves, actually.
Okay, that happened July 13th, and it just now came out today.
Oh, it was July 13th, really?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
The report was just released. Why did it take 6 months to come out?
I thought it happened yesterday, but maybe.
No, it was July 13th.
So they're covering up something. It's always look at the left hand, the right hand's about to do something naughty.
I think the pilot actually came forward, leaked.
So it was like, don't talk about this, and he said, I got to finally get it off my chest.
Well, the final report came out, so you have nothing to hide, you know?
Right.
We need to get some pilots. Maybe some pilots want to call in. That'd be good.
Oh, Pete's a pilot, actually. He's been on the show before. He's a pilot, and he used to work for the state government also.
And federal government. I was an aircraft controller. But this airline pilot reported seeing, he said a cigar, rugby-shaped metallic silver device, object coming toward him. And he swore it was going to hit. He said it passed just a few feet above him. He had no time to even verbally warn his first officer. He just ducked toward his first officer. That's how quick it was from the time he spotted it out of his left cockpit window to the time it passed over.
So the thing was hauling ass.
Are you talking about, Peter, you're talking about the one where the guy ducked, the pilot ducked down?
He ducked down toward the first officer, yeah.
Yeah, he ducked. He thought it was such a collision that he actually ducked.
He ducked toward the right, but he didn't have time to verbally warn his co-pilot, his first officer.
No, that's
right.
That's
how quick it was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That happened July 13th, and we're just hearing about it today.
Do you think most of the sightings we have, do you think the craft are man-made, by humans, like military, or are they extraterrestrial, Pete?
I'd say about 50-50 or one-third are real extraterrestrial. A lot of them are advanced military projects.
All black ops type of deal.
Yeah.
Black budget.
Like the triangle aircraft that were flying around. That was, I mean, the TR-3, Mantas were flying around back in the, the 80s,
Wow.
Joaquin,
may I say
knows
something?
Joaquin knows about the TR-3A and Bs.
Go ahead, JB.
It's like there, that even more than the event, I find it more interesting that Wingman, and we live near Heathrow. I live next to it, really. It doesn't seem like that when you take the tube, but I live right next to it. And it's strange that happened in June, yet we only heard of it yesterday. July. And we only heard of it yesterday. I didn't hear of it.
So what's Parliament doing, right?
It's time, yes. And timelines.
Well, this is like 7 miles over the city, though. I've flown over London at 35,000 feet, too. I've never landed in London.
Well, we covered that story off about, I think, 2 weeks ago.
That just came out today.
Just that was when it first broke. And
no, it just broke today.
Well, it broke where
yesterday.
you are today, but that's not where the story broke. I'm just going to...
It blew up today. It went viral today, basically. There's a reason for that, though. I smell a dead fish in the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so this is the story that we saw, and this was the 22nd of December. I'm just pulling it up. So
is that the same incident?
He's going to drop the link, yeah.
Yeah. And this was from the UK, The Mirror. Just putting the link in now, hang on.
All right, I'll make sure the chat room gets it also.
Yeah. It says, terrified airline pilot ducks as he sees a UFO heading straight to the cockpit. The captain of the packed Airbus A320 spotted a silver object heading straight for the cockpit, just as you've described. And if I scroll down through it, I don't actually see a date in it. I don't think it had a date. It said the near miss happened 20 miles west of Heathrow.
At 34,000 feet.
There's no date in the story, so we thought it happened pretty recently, but to hear it was back in July or whatever, yeah, that's a bit of surprise.
Speaking of aircraft incidents, how about the guys in the FedEx jet that almost got nailed by chemtrailers? You seen that video?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, you can look that up. Go to YouTube, type in FedEx jet chemtrail, and you'll see they almost get nailed twice. Way up there. Yeah, and they got a cockpit cam on this thing.
I've flown above a chemtrail craft before.
You seen the lines below you?
Yeah, and the craft.
Are they all white?
I couldn't tell if it was silver or white. It wasn't like orange and blue like Southwest or anything.
They come from Evergreen Air Base, I hear. That's where most of them fly out of.
Evergreen International was a major military contractor airline. Evergreen International all they do is military and CAA. They don't have any civilian cargo flights at all anymore. It's all military.
We were talking about creating our own civilian defense force, like calling 1-800-Blackwater, when a cop's getting out of line, so you can have your own civilian task force show up and rectify the situation against the tyrannical cop, and judges and all of it that is corrupt.
They got a website for that. It's called Twisted Badge.
What is it called?
TwistedBadge.com.
www.twistedbadge.com.
Yeah.
And I can call a hotline when I'm in trouble.
No,
in the
it's
streets.
not a hotline, but you report bad cops on that.
Well, it's more than reporting. We need a response team.
It's called the FBI.
Right.
Does the site? Does the site also have people? Is it fully reflective of the whole opinion of where the cop world is? This site, does it also say those that don't actually want to do it anonymously and they realise that there is something wrong with the judicial system?
They'll name the officer, and other people will chime in with comments that like they've been harassed by the same officer, stuff like that. You know.
Mm.
So when you were a cop, Pete, and this was 20 years ago now or such, right? I think that's what you said on our last call.
17, I think.
Well, how was the corruption looking at that time within the department?
In my department, I didn't see much. The local sheriff's department, or when I was in LA, the sheriff's department and the LAPD, very corrupt.
How so? I mean, what would you see?
Well, I had a pursuit one time going down Olympic Boulevard from like downtown Los Angeles toward the 405. And I was the lead pursuing car. And by the time the guy stopped, there's like 20 LAPD and LA sheriff cars behind me. And they all get out and jump up and beat this guy to a pulp. Then they all jump back in their cars and take off. And I'm sitting there, this beat up guy, not even lay a hand on him.
Just so everybody understands, Pete was a California Highway Patrol officer, so we're talking about two different authority figures here. LAPD came to beat, and then they bailed on the CHP officer and left him with the paperwork and the victim.
Yeah.
Slash suspect.
In the jails, LAPD jails, Orange County Sheriff jails, LA Sheriff jails, they all know, all the deputies know where the cameras are. And they want to beat an inmate, they bring him out of camera range and beat the shit out of him.
Hey, you got to watch your language on the air there, Pete.
Beat the stuff out of him.
So that's great. So what did you end up doing? How'd you handle it?
Well,
what does one end up doing?
I told my sergeant that I didn't lay a hand on this guy. It was all LA Sheriff, LASO, LAPD. You know, they all took off before you got here.
And what did your sergeant have to say?
I think the guy that was beat up, he actually even verified that I didn't lay a hand on him.
So you didn't get reprimanded for anything?
No, I didn't do anything wrong.
Hey guys, a friend of mine who entered the police force and left again because he said it was corrupt and he didn't want a part of it. You know, I think you have these ideals that you're going into some place to help and then, you know, it doesn't turn out the way you think it should, right? So he was with his sergeant in the state I'm in with his sergeant, and the sergeant had nothing to do. There was no call on the radio. There was nothing at all. Yeah? And he's just riding with him. And they pulled up outside this house. They went up the stairs. He said the place had, you know, unkept lawn, and
what a crime.
Well, no, but just to paint the picture of the house, right? So it wasn't in a great area. He had to walk upstairs to the front, and the unkept lawn, like 2 foot tall grass.
When I say what a crime for the lawn part, there's actually people getting thrown in jail here in the States for unkept lawns. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's I hear you, but so he says, you know, what are we doing? Why? He goes, just stay with me and take notes. So the sergeant goes upstairs first. He pulls out his notebook and he's got his pencil ready to go. And he kicks the door in. He doesn't knock. He does nothing of the sort. All he does is kick the door in. It opens up with a large bang. And he says, write down, knocked on door, no answer. Right. And he put his notebook away and didn't write any notes. He said he wasn't going to falsify the record, yeah? And they went in there and it's a guy smoking pot in his own house, and the sergeant demanded that he give him money, and the guy's going, "I know my rights, man. I know my rights." And he knew his rights, but he wasn't going to get any of them. And my friend walked out of the room, and he didn't want to see or hear anything else that went on. And he waited in the car, and when the sergeant came back, basically he drove back to the station at the end of the day, and he resigned. He said he didn't want any part of this. He said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen. And that was like 25 years ago. But having said that, I just think, we've all seen the footage of police doing the wrong thing. But when you weaponize them like the military today, before they weren't anonymous, before they weren't wearing all of that riot gear, they didn't have bulletproof Humvees and.
No, as a kid, you actually looked up to cops. You felt safe. They had free speech, and you could protest. Yeah. Now you can't even ask a cop for directions without him screaming at you not to talk to him. Right, yeah. Joaquin? Is that how it is in New York, basically?
I don't know.
What was the question again?
The cops, and back when we were kids or children, we used to, look up and trust cops and, felt safe around them. But nowadays, you can't even go in New York City and ask a cop for directions without getting yelled at by them.
Over here, nobody trusts cops. The way cops are killing people over here, and nowadays, cops shoot first, ask questions later, and everybody's fed up with them. So now they got this thing that people are afraid, and so when cops pull up to cars now, they're getting shot. That happened about last year, 3 times. People fear cops now, so now they're shooting at cops first.
I can't count the number of times. I can't count the number of times that people have asked me how to get to Disneyland.
How to get to Disneyland?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Would you tell them to F off, or would you actually give them directions?
I'd give them directions. They're like tourists lost going south on the 5, 20 miles away from Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. Should have said you're in Disneyland already.
I got to do another selfless plug, guys. We're almost out of time.
Are you guys
we need more hits
hour?
at the YouTube channel.
Are you off, or are you doing another hour?
We're going to go off the air. It's The Gray Zone, spelt with an A, all one word. That's our YouTube channel, The Gray Zone with an A. And our show is 2 to 4 every Tuesday morning on the East Coast, AM, or Monday nights on the West Coast, 11 to 1. We did an hour of overtime tonight, which has been a good time. I want to thank Joaquin, my co-host, of course, as always, Pony, David Dunger, who, go ahead and plug your show, David.
Shiny Side Out, same time, but on Saturday or Sunday night.
There you go. Wingman from the UK. Awesome. Always having Wingman. And JB, good having you. Also, Pete, thanks for calling. We also had EOD, my buddy, who dropped off at the top of the second hour, but it's been a good show. We got into a lot of craziness, like always, and we'll be back, like always. And hopefully everybody has a great frickin' week and doesn't freeze to death.
Been a great exploration. Great. Rectify. Love ya. Bye.
We're still gonna get back into that asexual.
Not today. Not today. You need a whole show for that one.
Love you too,
better
brother.
make sure that you're secure, because you might love me after this. Bye.
Hey, I love everybody as a brother and sister. I think we're all one, and we're all trying to come back as one. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. It's we don't do this for a paycheck. We don't get paid crap, so there's a reason for it. And I believe we're a bunch of like-minded individuals, and we're building something. And what we've built in the last 3 years, we're going on our 4th year, has been really strong. And it's amazing, and it's going to keep growing. And I think the powers that be fear the hell out of us. So keep going strong and donate, people, please. We need your help. We can't do it alone. Any last words, Joaquin?
Meditation is key. Keep your vibration up. Love is the key. And hopefully we'll get all through this together, man, peacefully.
Amen to that. And in that token, This has been the Gray Zone Roundtable. We'll catch you a week from now. God bless and much love. Each.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.